Greetings, family. Hey, my damn document closed. I always have it open, but for some reason it closed. I didn't even look. We are the breaker of curses, the caster of glorious conspiracies, and the creators of the new world. I, Cassandra-Floyd, am a divine instrument of my mother's divine will. As such, I am protected and guided by the sacred blood and water of my mother, Jacqueline Jeanette Cook's body that anointed my entry into this life. I am divine because she is divine. Mommy and I are one. I call all of our mothers to this moment. I call on they who govern everything, all time and every space in between. She with 10,000 names. Today it is Oya, Yamaya, Oshun, Iyami Ajay, Iyami Ajay, the divine architects of existence, usheresses of the new age. Mommy and I are one. I call upon all the divine ancestors and the Ashe of every mother on earth to break every curse ever cast upon the mother or children in all timelines and in every dimension. Mommy and I are one. We, the mother's divine children, conspire together today to forever bind those who have or would harm you, great mother. I conspire today to destroy everything and everyone in every timeline and dimension that has caused suffering and despair. Today, we embody the sacred and divine power of our mothers. Today, we the tree, we the weavers, rewrite all time. Today, we the tree, we the weavers, rewrite the book of life. Today, we, our mother's children, call on the winds of change. We conjure the primordial dark. We summon the sacred serpent deep from within the earth. We subdue the rogue sun. We control the light. We heal the harmed. We embolden the fearful. We instill courageous action. Today, we are staging a global evolution as is our mother's divine will. Mommy and I are one. We, the architects of the new age, now create the new institutions, the new traditions, the new culture, the new ways of being. We ecstatically welcome the radical destruction of all institutions of hate and harm erected by the godheads of war. Mommy and I are one. We have the power. We have the voice. We are the portals of change. Now we employ our sacred breath and we give life and sacred blood to conspiracy. Mommy and I are one. We command, come the wind, come the storm, come the lightning, capture and judge all godheads of war and all betrayers of the mother's divine will. Bring their confusion and war to an immediate end. Scatter them to oblivion, never to be resurrected. We are the fates. We are the furies. We are the Iyami Ajay. We are the disseminators of divine time, divine retribution, divine rectification, and evolutionary justice. We are the restorers of heaven on earth under the mother's divine reign. We wake the sacred serpent from her sleep to assist us in this sacred assignment. Love unlimited is our birthright. Harmony is our birthright. Ecstasy is our birthright. Pleasure is our birthright. Freedom is our birthright. This is her divine will. We are the divine executors of her will. We speak her will into the now to reverberate throughout all time, all space, and all dimensions. It is certainly, as we say, forever and ever. Mommy and I are one. Mommy and I are one. Mommy, original perfect glory. Her glory is perfect in peace, love, bliss, happiness, and ecstasy. This world exists because we collectively will it so. We, as representatives of the mother's reign on earth, speak this beautiful conspiracy as a single cosmic earthly orchestra to guarantee heaven on earth and joyful compliance with our mother's divine will. Possessing the power of our mothers, we speak this glorious future now. It is certainly as we say, Mommy and I are one. Greetings, family. I'm tired. Have you ever been tired and are mad because you're tired? Like, I don't want to be tired. You know what I'm saying? I want to do stuff. It's Sunday. I want to do stuff. I'm tired. I'm tired. Let me tell you what happened. After I got off that live with y'all last night, I went to go eat. And when I went to go eat, I was like, well, you know what? I'm going to walk. I've been sitting in front of this computer for 6 hours with y'all. And then 4 hours before that, getting ready to be on the live with y'all. So I was like, let me go walk to the place that I'm going to go get something to eat. Can y'all see me? Hello? Hello? Am I here? Somebody's saying, where'd we go? Blank screen. Damn. Okay. So anyway, since I decided to walk, I stopped and checked my mail first on the way out. Hold on. Oh, thanks, GJP. Thanks for the donation, darling. So let me just first say the reason that I entitled the live Donald means thank you for the donation, Fire. Y'all know I love it when it comes in multiples of 9. I don't know, it's my thing. I love it when people send me donations in multiples of 9. I dig that. Anyway, the reason I called it Donald means world ruler is because let's see what her name is. Okay. Forbidden one. For the forbidden one left me a comment. On my on the video I did yesterday and said, guess what? The etymology of the name Donald means world ruler. And I tell y'all, don't take nothing for granted. Find the etymology of every motherfucking thing because I'm perpetually blown away. Some stuff has never even occurred to me. As much as I am a geek about the etymology of shit, like this, the other person who was like, yeah, Tesla means, what she say Tesla means? Fuck, I don't remember, but somebody typed in my comments, Tesla means something crazy. I said, damn, I never even thought to search the damn word Tesla. Anyway, hold on, my phone up is about to die. What's that big old fat fatty? What's that big old fat fatty? Big old fat fatty. Big old. You're so goofy. You're so goofy, baby. You're my boy. Okay. Yeah, it never even occurred to me to find the name. I'm tired. Search Donald's name. And every time we do that shit, we're like, damn. They was really planning this shit. They were planning this shit on some long run shit. You feel me? Anyway, they can only be successful if we don't do shit. You feel me? So all this spooky shit, even though it's good to know, it don't faze me none. So anyway, I was going. Thank you, Forbidden One. um, you taught me about you taught me about etymology, and I've been on it ever since, baby. That's how I was the first time. I was like, oh, this shit mind blowing. They hiding everything in plain sight. Everything. So anyway, I walked to go get something to eat. Checked my mailbox, and the book came in the mail. I was like, all right, cute. Instead of walking back upstairs and putting it back upstairs, I was like, instead of walking back upstairs, putting the book away, I'll just take it with me and read on it a little while I eat at the place, right? The name of the book is Idols of Perversity, Fantasies of Feminine Evil in the fin de siècle culture. I don't know what the fin de siècle culture is, but I loved the main title of the book, Idols of Perversity. I was like, ooh, I might need to read that. Snatch, right? I love thriftbooks.com. That's like where I get my crack. That's where I get my heroin. I love thriftbooks.com. I stay on that shit, buying shit I ain't got no business buying because I haven't read the previous 100 books that I done got off thriftbooks.com. But baby, I was like, this cute. Let me show you the cover, right? Little scantily clad chickadee. You feel me? Idols of Perversity. I was like, okay, let's go. So I get to the damn spot to get me some quick grub to eat and crack open the book while I'm waiting for my food to come. Child. And I was just there, let me open it up, see what I land on, read while I'm waiting for my food to come. Look at these goddamn notes. I don't know if y'all can see it from the light. Oh, this light is just crazy. There we go. This is just from my first read, sitting at the restaurant last night waiting for my food, child. You see all them notes I done took on this page? Child, when I tell y'all, this first page, mind blown. Yes, blown. Mind blown. The very first sentence. I'm in the restaurant, just reading. I read the first line. I'm like, oh, shit. Out loud, y'all. Oh, shit. People started looking around because I'm sitting at the bar. It ain't like I'm sitting at a table by my damn self and shit. You feel me? I read the first sentence. I'm like, oh, shit. God damn. I was like, I wasn't ready. I was not ready. I wasn't ready. I was not ready. The name of this chapter through which this first sentence about snatched me right up out my chair is called Gold and the Virgin Whores of Babylon, Judith and Salome, the priestesses of man's severed head. I said, oh, Lord. Oh, God damn. Damn. Y'all see? I told y'all. Yesterday, I went into that little mini ceremony. I was like, this shit just be falling out of nowhere so hard and so obvious. She's like, ooh, she see. Ooh, we got one over here. Come on. Everybody. Child, I picked the book up after having all that long ass, deep ass moment yesterday with y'all. And the chapter I opened up to, it's called The Priestesses of the Man's Severed Head. I said, oh my God. Am I ready for this? Sitting in the restaurant, waiting for my food? God damn it, man. You feel me? Baby, let me tell you what had happened. I'm going to read to y'all what I read in this book last night that was y'all see, I underlined every single sentence. Every sentence. I underlined every single sentence. And I'm just going to say, I'm not going to be on here long. I know I keep saying that shit. I'm not going to be on here long. I haven't seen the sun in a week. I ain't seen the sun in a week. I got to go lay out in some grass somewhere. You feel me? So I'm going to read y'all a little something, drop a little something on y'all, and go about my goddamn life before the sun go down. Okay? Let me tell you what it has said. Under the priestesses of the man severed head, child, goddamn. Just the title. Let me see when this book was written. Because I'm like, we've been missing out on these 1970s and these 1980s female writers whose stuff is just coming up to the surface for us. These bitches was gangsters. This book was written in 1986. These bitches was gangsters. No wonder this shit was hidden from us. These bitches was gangsters. Goddamn. All these books. Missing Secrets. Symbols and Sacred Objects. Pure Lust. Great Cosmic Mother. Child, these bitches in the 70s and the motherfucking 80s was kicking in doors, bitch. They was kicking in doors. They was like, these bitches ain't in the place to read this shit now, but we got to drop these dimes because these young ones gonna come sometime and really take in what it was we was trying to. Child, these bitches was dropping hard knowledge. Listen to this sentence that she wrote in 1986. God, listen. Masochism. I'm already like, wait, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? Masochism is the opiate. Y'all ain't ready for this first sentence. Even reading it over without the noise of the club, without all the goings on. And let me just read this bullshit. Masochism is the opiate of the executioner's assistants. Unable to share in the isolate, incorporative, sadistic satisfaction of the man whose boot holds down the offender's neck, the masochist usurps the role of victim without descending to the actual victim's position of abject helplessness. Oh my God. Listen, y'all, goddamn. Expendable, marginalized, a mere tool of the hierarchy's domination. Damn. Expendable, marginalized, a mere tool of the hierarchy's dominion. The assistant dreams of having the executioner do his bidding, making of the master become his slave. The offender, the person who, in words or in action, illuminates the failures of the dominant value system, must always be a danger to the prevailing structures of power. Even when destroyed, he or she lives on in the executioner's mind as a faint threat of potential insubordination. Oh my God. Even when destroyed, he or she lives on in the executioner's mind as a faint threat of potential insubordination, of alternative solutions which threaten the smooth working of the rituals of mastery. Oh my God. Oh my God. Man, listen. I am literally buzzing everywhere. My hair is goddamn tingling. Ooh. But the masochist assists in the proper continuation of these rituals. Oh my God. He has a master, goddamn, while a servant has none. Oh, what? Thus, in his fantasies, the executioner's assistant becomes master over his boss by making his master be slave to his wishes. But in reality, the master has better things to do than pay attention to the groveling insignificance of his menials. His attention remains focused on important tasks, on the sadistic dismemberment and arrogant incorporation of real enemies, and the destruction of those who pose a serious threat. Hence, the executioner's assistant needs a surrogate master, someone even more marginalized than he, who will play the part of his boss, do his bidding, and beat him. For in this manner, the assistant, in his miserable fantasies of mirrored power, sees himself triumphant parasitically by joining in the tortured importance of the victim. At the same time, by manipulating the actions of the surrogate, he has recruited to debase him. He lives out a fantasy of control. Oh god damn. In directing the bateful menstruations of the surrogate master, the menial has in his dreams come to direct the actions of his sadistic boss. Baby, look, let me stop for a minute. Oh my gosh. Listen, the first thing that I thought on this night, after having the moment with y'all, I had sitting at a club that has food with a little cocktail. Let me just crack this little book open while I wait for my food, and had my wig split open. Oh, y'all. In this city that I am in right now, in all this time, almost 3 years now, that we have been talking about that book, Pure Lust, and the cornerstone, the foundation, the foundational, under the 3 pillar foundation of of empire, of this bullshit that we have been confronted with for all these years, being sadomasochistic asceticism, absolution, and martyrdom. And this girl come out this chapter cleaving heads. That's what she came out this chapter doing, cleaving heads. That's what she did. I'm living in this city watching these punk ass cops and these punk ass National Guards and these punk ass Marines. And baby, she said right here and described their role in relationship to the state. That as the military, as the police, as the National Guards, they truly have no power. They are envious of their bosses. They are envious of the power of their bosses, but they ain't got no fucking power. So what happens is they have to fantasize about power, because they are actually masochists. Even though they are acting out the directives of the master, the directives of the state, and they feel like they have some value. They feel like they have some value because they'll see a Donald Trump get up on the TV and talk about respecting our police officers and respecting our soldiers. And so this bigs their chest up a little bit. They feel like they got some power. If they feel like they got some power. And what they really get off on is not what they do to people. What they get off on, wishing that they had that power, is watching the dissemination of fucking power by their master, by their boss. That this is, so masochism is an opiate. Listen, this shit fucking, just this first line blew me away, because I'm always talking about the more spiritual, sinister nature of of what she calls sadomasochistic asceticism. That this sadomasochistic asceticism isn't just, the masochist and the sadist, like in your BDSM community, right? Where they are willingly participating in this flicked, imbalanced power dynamic, because that's what gets them off. But then, because I've never talked about it that way, I talked about it from the perspective of in a society, whatever branch of that society you're looking at, you have to have one that is, quote, divinely willing to accept their role as the masochist and divinely willing to accept their role as the divine sadist, right? Because if the book teaches you, especially those of you who are what she called the marginalized, teaches you that that suffering, karma says the same thing. So whether it's, quote, Christian language, or whether it's, dharma and karma and all of this shit, it's the same thing. Somebody has to suffer. And if somebody has to suffer, because pain and suffering and self-denial and all of those things, self-punishment and all that shit is what gets you closer to where you're trying to be in your afterlife, then there has to be somebody available to administer that necessary pain and suffering. And where the religious aspect comes in so strategic is that what? It gets you happily accepting your divine role, the divine role and necessity of accepting pain and suffering. It gets you off knowing that you are divinely ordained to suffer and experience pain. It gets you off. That's what she's saying here. It gets you off, child, to accept your divine role as the divine disseminator of pain and suffering. That's what gets you off. Is your role is to administer pain and suffering without consequence, without guilt, without the feeling of guilt. Your role is that you are perpetually guilty. You are never forgiven. But the more you suffer, the more you feel like Jesus. The more you feel like you're living like a good Christian, because Jesus suffered, so I must suffer too, right? And but in this role that we've been talking about, I've been perpetually talking about the state. But the state is not the boss. I have been saying that. The state is not the boss. The state functions the way it always has, whether that's the police, the military, the judges, the power that they're wielding, the power that they're disseminating is not their power. They are but, like, think about the whole. Think about the whole, your whole you. You feel me? Your whole you. You to stay. Okay? You to stay. And each body part that you have serves you. It's there to serve you, right? But in an attempt to save your life, if need be, won't you just on default, don't have to tell it to. And in order to preserve and protect your life, won't you allow you to lose an arm, allow you to lose a toe or a leg if it gets too cold, say, and you got frostbite or you got sepsis occurring in a limb and it's spreading so fast it's threatening the whole you? Won't you just chop it off and be like, I can still alive, I can still be alive, I can still thrive without my arm. I want my arm, but if my arm poses a threat to me, I just chop it off. If I get frostbite and gangrene as a consequence, the doctor say, you know what, you can live a healthy, thriving life without that toe or without that foot or without that leg up to the thigh. Let's go ahead and chop that off. That's the state. You are the whole. You are the thing that governs the state. Your body parts are the different aspects of the state. So you'll hear even Marx and Lenin talk about the arm of the state, right? You have different arms or appendages, tools of the state. I mean, of the tools of the one that runs and controls the state. All right. So, do you have power? Is my arm me? Is my arm me? No, my arm is not me. It serves me. The great one felt like it was a necessary, appendage to me to make me work and function optimally. But my arm by itself is not me. So I can cast it off if I need to. I can lose certain organs that, yes, they might be vital, but if that organ, something happens and it goes amok and the muck is gone enough that it is threatening the whole, guess what? There are certain organs you can get rid of. You can get rid of. Your organs are a part of you, but they serve you. You feel me? And so this shit is blowing my mind right now because she is talking about masochism as an opiate, child. That is as an opiate. And I just think about BDSM and how there is one who is willingly masochistic, not for no reason, but in their madness, this is how they get off. This is what thrills them. The police are masochists. We think of them as sadists. I have thought of them as sadists. They don't have, child, this is why. Let me tell you something. And I've been meaning to bring it up, and I keep forgetting to bring it up. When I tell you that there is a very deliberate and strategic reason that the great majority, especially here in California, I don't know if that is that way everywhere else where these ICE raids are taking off, but especially here in the city, there is a very insidious and strategic reason that every pig you've seen, every cop, every sheriff, every policeman, every single one you've seen, every ICE agent you have seen, in the now hundreds of hours of video that I've seen of people on deck doing the discipline of the crowd, every single fucking goddamn one of them is either Mexican or black. Every single one. I haven't seen a white one yet. That don't mean there haven't been no white ones out there. But even in regular, everyday cop behavior and activity in the city, when there ain't nothing going down, I can't even remember the time I saw a white cop in this motherfucking city. I'm not lying. I just got pulled over a couple of weeks ago. You know what I'm saying? I can't remember the last time. That don't mean that LA ain't got a gang of white cops. I just don't see them. And I live in Hollywood. I live literally 3 blocks from the Hollywood, the West Hollywood police station. Literally, I could throw a rock from my front yard and hit that bitch. It's so close. You feel me? I cannot remember the last time I saw a white cop. I'm like, is everybody in the police force now Mexican, and the few little black ones peppered in the mix? And the first several days, everybody clamping down, all these ICE agents clamping down on these people. It's Mexicans. I was like, and then I saw this video last night. This dude, I forget the dude's name, but he's pretty big. He's like a commentator, like a black kind of professional commentator or something. He big. And he was showing a video of the LA protests, and these Mexican protesters, a couple of females and a couple of dudes facing off with this black cop, and everybody got their panties in a bunch because the Mexican protesters are calling this black cop the N-word over and over and over. Nigga. They was going in. Nigga, like it was a song or some shit. You feel me? And so now, deflectionary tactic that it is, yeah, they was dead ass wrong. Because all them Mexican pigs y'all done seen out there, y'all ain't calling none of them Mexican pigs out they motherfucking name. Yeah, they dead ass wrong. But for me, that was not what was offensive. I'll be honest. I will be honest, that is not what was offensive. Because if they had just chosen a better explicative, I'd have been all right. Punk ass motherfucker. I'd have been like, yes, tell that motherfucking pig to his face. They didn't do that though. Again, even in the height of this shit, there's literally thousands of black people protesting in the street with the Mexicans about what's happening to them. And these two weirdos. Now, if you want me to be deep about it, you feel me? If you want me to be deep about it, I say it's deliberately distractionary. If you had me tell it even deeper, these people that they showed talking to this black pig, the way they was talking to him, I was like, these motherfuckers police, they agents. I told you, y'all know my default. Everybody an agent. Now, whether you an active agent, like meaning you consciously moving from your position of internalized white supremacy and white nationalism and shit, that's the conscious agent. The subconscious or unconscious agent is that motherfucker that's like they just move, they just they self-sabotage. You know what I'm saying? So that wouldn't have been them kids out there talking to that cop like that. That felt like some very deliberate, even the angle of the interaction. Like, who was behind the camera watching that from the angle that they were watching this interaction as long as they were between this black cop and these Mexican protesters. I was like, this feels orchestrated. It feel too clean. You feel me? They focus was too good to just be out in the midst of some chaos. You feel me? That shit felt like police shit to me. Now, I might be wrong. They might have just been, let me make the distinction. Paid deliberate agents. You feel me? Paid deliberate agents. Yes. Scripted agentry. You feel me? Or you just conscious agent, meaning you ain't getting paid. You just go out there and you just rage out against, black people or whatever the fuck from your place of internalized white supremacy. So I ain't saying that's unconscious. I'm saying that's conscious. And then the other is the paid scripted agentry. These motherfuckers is the actual police or hired by the actual police. Because what the police got a habit of doing, the state in general got a habit of doing, is finding something about your life. You feel me? Finding out something about your life. You just got out the pen, you on probation, whatever. And they say, look, we'll throw you a couple of bones. We'll take you off probation if you get out here and throw a brick. You know what I'm saying? We'll throw you a couple bones. We'll make sure the ICE them leave your particular people alone. You feel me? If you go out here and do this little thing, conveniently get caught like doing some spray paint, conveniently get caught like doing XYZ. You feel? So let us throw you some bones, get up in here and do what we tell you to do, and you'll be all right. You and yourn, they'll be all right. That's the paid agentry, scripted agentry. That shit was just too clean. It felt too clean, and it felt way distractionary. So, and of course, within 24 hours, this shit done got 1 million likes and done set off an incendiary of black people saying, all you black people out there protest, see this bullshit, take your ass home. You feel me? It just felt too clean and too deliberate. And I know LAPD, and they be out here with the shits. You feel me? I didn't know there was any Mexicans that got arrested during January 6th, but I wouldn't doubt it. But it wasn't 1,600 Mexicans. It was predominantly white boys and white women. You feel me? There ain't no white people out here. There ain't no white ICE. There ain't no white pigs. I'm telling you, that shit is fucking mind-blowing to me. I'm like, they just really ain't gonna show. They really just ain't gonna have no white people out here. Because that's our default. The other thing I want to say about this interaction between these Mexican kids and this Negro cop is him being black is par for the course. Is par for the course. Them being Mexican cops and ICE, par for the course. You'll get caught up, and it's the thing. It's like it's a theme. It's a thing, because when I watched the first season of that, because I didn't watch past the first season. It was just too much for me. The first season of what's that shit? The Handmaid's Tale, when the shit just descend into madness and chaos. And then you see people, there was a few little periods where people was like bucking the system and trying to go on the run and shit. But every cop you saw, man, in that first season, every cop you saw walking down the street like paramilitary troopers after the society is completely rearranged, right? And all these women, and they can't look men in the eyes in this new society. They got to hold their head down, just like enslaved people. Actually, every cop you saw in the restructuring of this new world, I said, this is fucking fascinating. Every cop, every military, everybody with a gun was black or brown men. Every cop, go back and watch that first season of Handmaid's Tale. I said, what the hell am I looking at? Every cop Every quote law enforcer was black or brown. I was like, what am I seeing? And then fast forward all these years, and baby, in the height of this shit, I haven't seen a white pig yet. Still, yet. We a weekend. I still ain't seen a white pig. I said that shit is strategic. It is strategic and it's concerning because it's true. It's concerning because it's true. Also, here in it was in Texas. It was in Texas a few days ago. I saw a news broadcast with all these men's faces scattered across the top. Half the men's faces was Negroid. Guess what the goddamn story was about? Was Negroid. I said what I said. Negroid. They don't deserve, listen, Negroid. Guess what the story was about? What I was telling y'all a week ago. How these men had been dressed up in ICE uniforms that they bought off Amazon. We have to boycott Amazon. These goddamn ICE uniforms they bought on Amazon, going around trying to snatch women off the street. They got caught by Dallas PD, or I forget, Houston, Dallas, something like that. But it was like 8-9 men just that we know of, just that got caught. They had their pictures all across the top of the screen. Half of them was Negroid. Wearing ICE uniforms, literally attacking women on the street, trying to force them into their automobiles. Women got away, fought back, went to the police department, and within 24 hours or so, all the assailants had been arrested. But buying ICE uniforms off motherfucking Amazon and going around because these motherfuckers are allowed to, they ain't gotta show you their face, they ain't got no badge number, that just get in my car because I say so. My mama told me I don't get in nobody motherfucking car I don't know. So you got to come with something better than this. A motherfucking uniform and a gun, bitch. Listen, you got to come more correct than that. I don't give a fuck. People better start running. People better start running. People better start keeping some motherfucking cayenne pepper in their pocket. These motherfuckers, and that's not even all. These was the ones that got caught. People in Florida talking about this shit. It's like full on. It's like goddamn Wild West in Florida. Florida was where it started. Where at the beginning, before this thing just started last week, I told y'all a month or so ago, I saw this white boy in Florida being interviewed off the side of the road, like walking down the sidewalk. He got an ICE uniform on that he said he bought on Amazon.com. And the guy stopped him and was like, it was a news guy. And he was like, yo, are you ICE? He's like, no, I just wear this because I like to see people scatter like roaches when I walk into a place. Meanwhile, there have been story after story after story of women, only women getting disappeared under the auspice of it was somebody from ICE. And then don't nobody know where the fuck she at. No, y'all gonna have to come correct. God damn it. Y'all gonna have to motherfucking come. Bitch, if you gonna be like that, the only way y'all get me is y'all gonna have to black bag me like these motherfuckers, like the goddamn Gestapo, which y'all ain't but a step away. Y'all ain't but a step away. People calling them Gestapo. They straight up every day, all day, in your face motherfucking slave catchers. That's what they are. That's what they are doing. That's what they are doing. They are going out in the world, no different than them Europeans descended on motherfucking Africa, just clamping chains on everybody that they see that don't look like them and grabbing their asses up to take them somewhere they ain't never been. And because of the fear and because of the consistent fear that they've been fucking, the fear campaigns they've been seeding since COVID, they literally numb your fight back. They numb it into submission. So you just like, damn, this show fucked up. What's happening to me? and my family. I guess I just have to let them put these chains on me, force me, in the motherfucking truck, and to see what happened on the other side. People are literally fear exhausted, terror exhausted. So y'all better be researching and not on the goddamn internet. Y'all better start researching your guerrilla tactics. That's all I got to say about that. You better start finding some books at your local library or your, what you call that shit, your secondhand bookstore, and start researching your guerrilla plan, your guerrilla tactics. Now, we done read all the things. Baron Trump, what the sister sent me, the name Donald mean, world ruler. I've been telling y'all this for years, we better be the fucking cog in the machine. We better start throwing bricks in the goddamn machinery, throwing bricks in the goddamn chain link and the wiring and shit. It ain't got to be no, to me, it ain't got to be no over, because this shit, honey, they are corralling people's emotions. Everybody out in the street doing this shit that we know now don't work because we did it 1,000 times and it ain't produced no results in our favor. There has been a 32% increase in police killings and violence since George Floyd. Yo, protesting, I promise you ain't doing shit. I promise you. Unless you out there on some witchy shit, unless you out there bringing some shit that they don't know what to do with, they don't know how to, what the fuck these niggas doing? What the fuck these bitches doing? I'm really thinking about them periods of time, these wars and shit, where they was talking about how because of old culture, when the women come out with their titties out, we in trouble. This some other shit. We don't know how to do this. We don't know how to work with this. The Nigerian wars, where thousands of women came out the street, out their houses, with their goddamn loppers on and their titties out, with sticks and shit in their hands, and the police didn't know how to handle them. They was able. What was it? It was like a Nigerian oil refinery where these white people done set up, a process of stealing the oil out of Nigeria and poisoning the environment, and at the same time not giving none of the native people no jobs, and this shit where they literally carrying out tens of thousands of barrels of oil a day, and the people around them ain't got no lights, no water, and shit. And so finally, the women they bum rushed. It was a shell company. Bum rushed the shit with their titties out. Held every man in the place hostage for 2 weeks. Child, they went in there with sticks, loppers, and their titties out. And it was like, ain't nobody leaving this motherfucker until our men get some jobs, making the same money these motherfuckers making. Y'all ain't gonna rob us of our goddamn oil, and then you ain't gonna hire nobody. You ain't gonna give nobody no money. No, we ain't having it. And the women, and they won that shit. These women bum rushed that shit and held them right there hostage for 2 weeks with sticks and their titties out. Okay, we ain't leaving up out of here until y'all motherfuckers unhand our shit or give our men some motherfucking work. That's it. That's the only negotiation we willing to make. It ain't the only time. There's so many stories about women doing that in Africa. I just feel like this shit that the state wants, man. The state wants you to feel like there's no other recourse than to go out there screaming and yelling. And then you end up doing dumb shit under the auspice of, quote, keeping the peace. I'm sorry. Dancing out there and shit, playing the drums and dancing. I ain't never seen no shit like that till I came to LA. I'll be honest. How they demonstrate out here, how they do demonstration out here is bizarre as fuck to me. It's like being at a party. It's like being at motherfucking Woodstock or some shit. People pulling out their drums, dancing in the street. To each his own. But that's why I made up my mind. When I let somebody convince me during the George Floyd thing, I went to 3 demonstrations during that even though I knew better. I'd already long had a position. I don't participate in protest. I don't make the state's job easier for it. I don't do that. Can we do something else of that magnitude? That many people, that much energy, something the fuck else. Why don't do you know that in the city of Los Angeles, and it's so crazy how shit works, because I was just walking stopped at the bus stop, all random. Like, remember that day I told you I stopped to get a break at the bus stop, and I looked up and saw the little elephant thing about the elephant campaign and the two elephants they trying to figure out what to do with. And I got on my elephant shit with the Shiva and all that shit. That was when I sat down. I was like, I'm going about this all wrong, about securing my living, securing my life. Like, I'm working crazy fucking hard, crazy fucking hours, and I am consistently fighting against a goddamn raging river. You feel me? I was like, there's got to be a better way for me to do this that does not require more work. There's got to be a better way for me to do this, because when I say swimming against a raging river and getting, like, you know, when you see them salmon and they trying to swim up the stream and it look like they just staying in place because the river moving 1,000 times faster than they could swim. That's what I feel like all the time, every time. And so I was like, there's got to be a better way for me to do this shit. So I'm trying to sit there at the bus stop and do some calculations. I was like, okay. So I go on to Google. I'm like, yo, how much money is generated in the city of Los Angeles every day, right? And then do some other calculations. What will it take for me? Or first of all, how much would it take? Like, what percentage of the population would I need to actively engage? You feel me? To get 0.01% of whatever it is that LA generates in a day. And what are the top 10 industries with which to do that? The top 10 industry generators in this city for me to get my 0.01% of the population that's going to give me this amount of money every day, right? That was what I was on. I was like, I got to do this better. You feel me? And before I could even do my calculations, I got stuck on how much money is generated in the city every day. I got stuck right there. Because, you know, LA, yes, is, first of all, the state of California. The state of California is the 4th largest economy on the planet, on the whole earth. The 4th largest economy is the state of California. That's why I be getting mad. California should not, there is no excuse for California to look like it does. And the way that California looks like it does is because it is purposefully that way. California, not even California, Los Angeles City alone generates $86 million a day, creates $86 million a day, every day, 365 days a year. This city generates $86 million a day. You hear me? I didn't even finish my calculations because I'm like, psh. Then they tell you the top industries, right? And it was just so random how that happened. So as soon as this shit popped off the first day, because when I told y'all I came home and I was so disgusted by these scores of thousands of people that were proliferating, the scores of thousands of people that were proliferating just my little area, just my little radius, because they initiated this thing the day before Pride weekend deliberately as a distraction. And I'm mad because everybody is out, everybody's spending money like crazy, and every day has been that way. Every day has been that way. Last night was the first time I got something out to eat since this shit popped off. I haven't stopped anywhere. As a matter of fact, I haven't bought any. I'm so glad because I didn't know this shit was about to go down, but I went and actually bought groceries 2 days before. I'm like, God damn, I'm so glad I went and bought groceries because I still haven't put no gas in my car. My car is running on fumes. I'm like, ooh, I got to stop and get gas, but I don't know where I'm going to go spend my money. Last night, I talked on this motherfucker for 6 hours. I was like, I got to go spend some money. At least it's a private spot. It ain't like no corporate shit. I got to go get something to eat and I ain't cooking. And so I went out last night. This is the first money I've spent out of my house, except bills and shit, since this shit popped off. And so I'm getting mad every time I ride down the street. And it's like, this thing is actively going 24 hours a day, by the way. 24 hours a day, scores of helicopters all over the fucking place. I'm like, why are people spending money? And I immediately went back to this $86 million a day. And like, damn, if we could just win a majority of people to say, okay, for 3 days, for 1 week, we are not spending a single dime in the city of Los Angeles, even if it means we got to drive outside the city limits to get our needs met, even if it means we got to drive the town over or 2 towns over or whatever. Los Angeles County, we ain't spending our money with no motherfucker inside the city limits. We'll go outside this motherfucker to get what we need, but ain't nobody yeah, ain't nobody focusing their energy in the right way. That's all I'm saying. You spending all this energy out in the street thinking you doing something, and all you doing is adding fuel to the flame that this weirdo done started. And you ain't gonna be better. You ain't gonna be better off, because we see that shit does not work anymore, and we're just too dishonest to say protest politics does not work anymore. It does not work. It does not accomplish anything that we think we're trying to accomplish. As a matter of fact, what George Floyd taught us, as organized as it was that they will double down afterwards. A 32% increase in police killings and police violence subsequent to the George Floyd rebellion and all of that shit. They double down. It was after George Floyd and the impact that it had on the city that the police was given another $1.6 billion by the Negress. Not that $1.6 billion to be distributed and disseminated in a way that this thing like George Floyd type shit don't happen no more. No, that's not what happened. That $1.6 billion wasn't going to address economic instability. And no, that ain't where it went. Under the Negress, supposedly, quote, a do-gooder Democrat. That ain't where it went. So, nah, we gotta be doing something else. We gotta be doing something else. If every last one of them people getting arrested, now you done generated money for the fucking police department. Every time the police hem somebody up, they got to bond out. That's money you done generated for the state. Now you got to go working overtime to raise a bond campaign. For what? For what? How you generate more money for the police? How you generate more money for the goddamn sheriff's department and shit like that? Why is, like, I'm telling you, we don't learn. So now all these organizations, all these do-gooder organizations got to switch gears overtime to start raising money to bail people out. I've seen it because I've done it. Now they can't wait for a goddamn protest. They like, damn, we about to make out like bandits out this bitch. Let's see. These motherfuckers too peaceful. They too peaceful. Let's incite some violence. You feel me? They being too peaceful in the protests. Let's see if we can throw a wrench in the shit so we can actually have at least the perception of an excuse that justifies how we want to arrest everybody out here. We want to arrest as many motherfuckers as we can. We about to make out like bandits. We need these little extra bonus kickbacks for every head we throw in the clink. Every head we throw in the clink, we getting the bonus. We getting the kickback. Man, we love when protests happen. It's been too peaceful in this city too long. We need a good protest. Yeah, we'll work with y'all. ICE, okay, we'll work with y'all because we know people gonna buck back. They're gonna buck back. Yeah, we'll work with y'all. We'll say we just gonna function to keep the peace. But this shit will intensify because it is LA. And once it intensifies, we will be ready. We'll have enough jail cells open to make sure we can get a good 600-700 people up in the clink. Most of them ain't gonna have no charges that's gonna stick. but they'll still have to bond out, and they don't get no refund on that shit. You don't get no refund on bond, even if you didn't commit no crime, even if you found innocent. You don't get your money back. You don't get your shit back. This is a motherfucking. I told y'all about the episode of that. What was that show? I forget what the name of the show was. But he said it as much. The mayor said it's been too long since Chicago has had a good rebellion. It's been too long. It's been over 10 years since the city had a good riot. We need a good riot. And you know what he did? He called his right-hand man, his official liaison between the mayor's office and the black community. And he called him in the office. He was like, yo, like, how long have the protests been happening in the city? Because the cops had killed a kid. How long the protests been going on in the city? He said, probably about 6 days now. And he said, has there been any incidences, any violence, any graffiti, any like vandalism, any looting? He was like, no, actually nothing. Everybody's been pretty chill. Everybody's been keeping the peace and doing the vigils. And yeah, there hasn't been one incident, no brick through a window, nothing. He was like, oh, okay. He's like, this shit taking too long. The black guy looked puzzled. He looked puzzled. He was like, what you mean it's taking too long? He was like, yo, do you know about 4 guys who may have just gotten out of jail and hard on their times? He's like, child, yeah, I know a bunch of brothers like that. He's like, do me a favor. Grab up about 3 of the boys you know, you understand, and bring them here. I want to talk to them. He was like, why? This is the mayor he's talking to. The mayor's character is played by the guy that used to play Frasier. He's like, just do what I say. So he tells his Negro liaison to the black community, go on out there and find some Negroes that are hard on their. He specifically asked for black men. Find 3 black men who's hard on their time and need a little help. Tell them I got a job for them. He's like, okay. So he brings the brothers back to his office, and he was like, we got a file on all of y'all. We got y'all file. We know you just got out maybe a couple months ago, and you ain't got no family. And he got their record. He got their criminal record. He was like, how would you feel about having your record wiped? One of the dudes that he asked them different things. How would you feel about having your record wiped? He's like everything? He's like, yeah, like everything. He's like, damn, that'd be awesome, man. I've been out here fucked up. I can't get no job because of my record. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying in like a place for men, like a transition place for men who coming out the clink. You feel me? My family don't want me to stay there. Shit been real hard out here. He was like, all right, cool. This is what I want you to do. And in exchange for doing what I want you to do, we going to have your goddamn whole record wiped, and we going to give you $10,000. He was like, word? What I got to do? He was like, we going to give you what you need, and you need to go out here. You need to make sure your face ain't seen, but just a bandana. You know what I'm saying? Just a bandana, so we can still see you a nigga. So we can still see you, so people can still see you a nigga. No mask, just like, like bandana around your face type shit. No ski mask. He was specific. He said, you're going to get up before the vigil starts, and around the corner behind a trash can, like a dumpster, there's going to be some things there waiting for you. And then you need to grab them things at like the height of the vigil and start fucking shit up. Throwing a couple bricks in through some windows. Feel me? You two, your homies, y'all gonna go in and snatch a TV, but make sure it's in the open so everybody can see. We need to kick this goddamn vigil into overdrive. We need to transform this vigil into a riot. So the black guy who brought the homies there was like, what the fuck are you saying? He's like, these people been peaceful. They got a right to be mad. This cop done killed a baby, done killed the kid. He's like, that ain't got nothing to do with me. He said, the last time there was a good riot in Chicago generated $60 billion of insurance money off the buildings in that area. And we were able to gentrify that whole area because of the riot. We had an influx of billions of dollars that allowed us to restore every building in that place that had already been dilapidated or some mom and pop shit or whatever. We was able to, like I told you, they be telling you they plans in real time, in your face. And because you believe what you're watching is fiction, you don't adjust accordingly. You don't pivot according. Thank you, Helen Stevenson. Because it isn't the Olympics going to be in LA. I think it was a sweep like New Orleans for the Super Bowl. Absolutely, 1,000%. That's all people have been talking about for the last 2 years. There's a whole campaign. Don't bring the Olympics to LA. There's documentaries from different countries about the increase in police violence 3 years prior to the Olympics coming to that city, and how many motherfucking people get disappeared. There was a documentary. It was so monstrous. It was so goddamn malignantly monstrous about what happened in Brazil the 3 years prior to the Olympics showing up in Brazil. Baby, when I tell you monstrous. And as the Olympics get close, there are more and more organizations springing up all over the city in opposition to the Olympics coming to LA. LA has been saying, some people say that's why the fires had to happen in Altadena. That in Pacific Palisades, the fires were not threatening that part of town. But they was like, damn, this show is an ample opportunity because these Negroes that own this little piece that's been historically black in Altadena and a little bit of Pasadena, they ain't budging. They ain't trying to sell us no shit. They won't sell their houses. They ain't trying to sell nothing. This will be an ample opportunity to move them up out of this place. They've been giving us a hard time about buying up their shit for pennies on the dollar. There have been a lot of people that said the reason that they took advantage of the naturally occurring fires in the Pacific Palisades to set only Altadena, not Pasadena, which is literally right across the street. The only place that got leveled to the ground by them fires is the historically black part of Altadena, where there was more black home ownership per square mile than any place in the country. 85% of the homes in Altadena black owned and paid off, like no mortgage. Old black people who was like, nah, I spent my whole life here. I bought my shit fair and square, but nah, I ain't selling my shit. And then miraculously, for somebody, not to mention the goddamn child. Don't let me get started on that. But that's what you're seeing. Oh God, is this type of discussion? It's this type of discussion that reminds me of how silly it is to think that covert ops only occur overseas. I'm trying to tell, honey, the only people talking that bullshit is white people. Because every goddamn co-op operation that's done happened overseas was perfected on the black community right here in the United States, where there is an estimated, 65 cities in the United States, 65 cities in the United States that are currently underwater. And guess what the common denominator was? They was all black ass cities, black owned, black government, underwater. That if we can't drive them out, if we can't terrorize them out because of the location and how it is, we'll drown them out. We'll flood the area. Isn't that what they tried to do with the hurricane in Louisiana? Before the hurricane, they had already bombed all the walls. No, it was during the hurricane that people kept saying they heard what sounded like dynamite going off, where somebody deliberately blew up the dams that flooded out. The floods didn't occur as a consequence of the hurricane. The floods happened after the hurricane was over, and somebody heard a succession of fucking dynamite blowing up the dam. And the 3rd Ward and the 9th District and all of that place is below sea level. And so the flooding happened after the hurricane. Black people have an etched in their blood memory of the kind of case. We can look overseas. We can look at Palestine and be like, damn, that's so terrible what's happening up over there. And we got to take a position and we got to do and free Palestine. But y'all, that's why I get real. I can get real belligerent and real stankin'. I can get real stankin' about how every time you turn around, people talking about free Palestine, free Palestine. Yes, free Palestine. But I'll tell you what'll make your argument more legitimate, what will make your intentions more legitimate, more earnest, is stop the aggressions against black people in this goddamn country. Stop the aggressions against native people in this country. Has anybody on this motherfucker seen a reservation, been on a reservation for a 24-hour period? Y'all can see the obvious aggression against goddamn Palestinians, but y'all act brand motherfucking new when you are looking at situations just as diabolical as what's happening. I'm telling you, just as diabolical as what's happening in Palestine right here in your own country, but you so conveniently blind. You so conveniently blind. That's why I be having a real attitude. I be having a real attitude. About how super selective people can be with stating their political position. Because y'all motherfuckers is opportunists. There's no other activists on earth more opportunistic than so-called white progressives in the United States of America. That's my position. Because yes, you can say, I stand with Palestine, free Palestine. Oh, word. Then how you feel about somebody mentioned it here. What's your position on Black Wall Street? What's your position on Rosewood, Florida? What's your position on what is it called? Central Park, and the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, probably thousands of black ass bones buried in Central Park, running black people out of their well-deserved and earned fucking place to live to build Central Park, Lake Linear. What's your position on what's the other one? What's your position on Red Summer? Where now it wasn't the South, bitch. It was a bunch of so-called white people in the motherfucking North, in Boston, in Chicago, in motherfucking New York. They called it Red Summer because of the thousands of black people that white people descended on like the plague, because black people was escaping slavery during the first Exodus. Was like, yo, we done made a way up here, you feel me? Slavery was over. But they was like, we ain't getting the jobs we need to get. These motherfuckers trying to make us, what they call it? What you call it? Indentured, not indentured servants. The other thing. You know what I'm saying? And so we gonna make this grand exodus up to the north where they offering us, a decent living for a change. And white people was like, no, these niggas can't be up here neither. And descended on them like the fucking angel of death. What's your position on that? What's your position on the fact that at the height of lynching from 1865 to 1920, at the height of lynching, that the state that actually had the most recorded lynchings of black people was not in the South. It was Oregon. What's your position on that? Where you stand on that? What's your position about black captives in the United States? You talking about people liberating people from the jails in Israel, bitch, and there's 2.5 million people in prison in the United States, and the grand majority of them are black-skinned, and next to them is brown-skinned. What's your position on that? What's your position on that? Oh, it's so convenient. It's so convenient. What's your position on this? Leonard Peltier just got the fuck out of prison. What? 2, 3, 4 months ago? Trump signed the thing to exonerate Leonard Peltier after having been in prison for 42 years. 42 years. 42 years. What's your position on that? What's your position on that? What's your position on the fact that the custodians of the true owners of the land, Native American people, the conditions of indigenous women are beyond appalling? How many indigenous women go missing every year that are extraordinarily disproportionate to their presence in the country. They make up 2% of the population. And between the women and the children, Native women and children, by the way, the protections of the adoption, the federal adoption protections that prevent the removal of Native children from their families, Trump just overturned that. So even though Native people only make up 2% of the goddamn population, they were making up to, I'm not exaggerating, these are y'all stats. They were making up to, at one point before the legislation, they were making up to 74% of the foster system and the adoption system. 74%, but they make up 2% of the population. And then even after the legislation, they were still making up almost a third of the children held captive in these motherfucking adoption agencies and foster care systems. What's your position on that, Mr. I love Palestine, free Palestine? The fuck is wrong with you people? No, they have to look overseas, elsewhere, somewhere for somebody to quote, shout their unity with, shout their solidarity with, because that don't really mean they got to do no shit. If they look in their own home, then acknowledge it, it means you got to motherfucking do something now. You got to do something now. And if you have me tell it, oppression that exists anywhere they got a good role model in the United States. They got a good, look how the states did that shit. Let's just do what they did. Pacify the population while we rain holy hell on the other part of the population. Because the happy part, the pacified part, they ain't gonna do shit. We gotta master the art of how they did that shit. Y'all all too quick to talk about, Nazi Germany and oh my God, it's fascism and Trump is like Hitler. No, the fuck he ain't. Trump ain't like Hitler. Hitler was like every president up until his point. He was like, why y'all mad? We fashioned our shit, our fascism, our rise, our third right. We fashioned what we doing over here after what by watching y'all. Y'all gave us the blueprint. What y'all mad at us for? Y'all gave us the blueprint to do what we doing over here. Why y'all mad? Trump ain't like Hitler. Trump is like the United States of America. He ain't like Hitler. Trump is like the United States of America. Trump is like your beloved Abraham Lincoln. Trump is like Lincoln, talking out one side of his mouth while lynching 28 Native Americans who had the audacity to fight to preserve the sanctity of their sacred mountain that these white people turned around and chiseled 4 white boys' faces on, making it the largest ancestral shrine in the goddamn country. And how did they consecrate that goddamn ancestral shrine? By spilling the blood of 28 Native people at the foot of that same mountain. That's how they did that. And Abraham Lincoln did that. Hitler learned from America. Trump didn't learn from Hitler. Trump's lineage goes all the way back to the 7 patriarchs of the motherfucking Mayflower, bitch. He had a long lineage of learning how to fucking decimate populations and terrify whole human beings. And all the other stuff he do. All the other stuff he's been charged with. All the other stuff he done did. His participation in slave trade. In the form of females, young people. Hitler didn't learn from him. He didn't learn from Hitler. He learned from his grandpappy and his great-grandpappy. What did they say? His grandpappy made his wealth in prostitution. That's his foundation. He made his wealth in prostitution. How did Kennedys make their wealth? The illegal running of booze during Prohibition. That's how they made their come up. That's the foundation of their wealth. Was breaking the fucking law. That's how they did that. Y'all be acting confused. Yes, free Palestine, but don't step over the bodies of human beings in the United States of America to do that shit. Free Palestine while you addressing the very real, present day, ramifications of an unending break in the terrorism imposed on your black and brown and red citizenry in the United States. Don't step over our bodies. Oh, well, that happened a long time ago. No, nigga. It still need to be addressed. It still need to be resolved. It still need to be rectified. That's why we got the conspiracy. We ain't just talking about, the past is alive right now today. The past still exists right now today. And y'all ain't gonna step forward. Y'all ain't gonna move forward. Y'all are not going to evolve. Shit is not going to change while you conveniently blind. While you are conveniently complicit in the crimes against humanity that have unfolded against black people and red people in this country. Us primarily, us first. There ain't no stop, pass, go. No, while you shouting solidarity for what's happening over there, you need to be always keeping these motherfuckers on the now y'all got to rectify what the hell done happened here. Y'all got dues to pay. Government, y'all need to be unhanding motherfucking resources by the billions, by the trillions. It was estimated in 1982. These was the calculations according to 1982. That if the black population of the United States was going to receive reparations just for slavery, not even the exploitation of wealth subsequent to the end of slavery, let's say we just getting back pay for 400 years of unpaid labor, that by 1982's economic adjustment, that it would break the economy. $17 trillion owed to black people in the United States of America solely for unpaid labor. That's all. We just gonna stop there. Unpaid labor, nothing else. Even though y'all still owe us mountains more than that for the rate of exploitation subsequent to the end of slavery. Let's just make that a stopping point. Unpaid labor since the end of slavery, estimated by 1982 economic standards to be $17 trillion fucking dollars. So if you want to talk about the wealth of the white world, not just here in the United States, because everybody was tied to slavery in North America and in South America and in the islands. Everybody in Europe was tied to the enslavement of Africans in the diaspora and the perpetual theft of wealth on the goddamn continent. Start with just us in America. Start with just 400 years of unpaid labor. Y'all owe $17 trillion to us. And that's why you can see the wealth of the white world and the quote excellence of the white world. It ain't no shit they generated. They got that way through absolute, unadulterated, uninterrupted theft of blood, life, resources, and mineral wealth. Y'all be so convenient because y'all are complicit. Y'all complicit. I'm talking about white people who swear they so progressive. Y'all are complicit. Y'all become the lone voice of reason among your white brethren while you still live, while you still have on average almost $150,000 more in just basic familial and social wealth than the average black family. Fuck y'all. Y'all think it's just genius that y'all have that makes it so that the average white family, their annual wealth is $175,000, and the annual wealth of a black family, man, woman, and child, what do they say? Is like $33,000 a year. Fuck y'all. That's how y'all can be that's how y'all can be out here sipping coffee and tea on the side and drinking. I said white people. I didn't say white men. I said white people. I'm crystal clear about who I'm talking about. I said white people. Shit. I'm clear about who it is I am directing that shit to. Nah, they guilty. As a matter of fact, they equally guilty if you have me tell it. They equally guilty. Equally enthusiastically guilty. Feel me? Anyway, let me get up off here. I said I wasn't going to be on here long, and I'm not. I'm tired. I'm tired. Actually, I'm lying. Let me do one more thing. Since it's now the 15th. So let me tell you what happened. Okay, my bad, baby. This there's so much. There's just obviously so much that's happening that needs to be talked about. But I'm one person. I know my perspective tends to be a little bit like outside the norm. So I feel convicted, to like talk as much as I do, especially when shit comes down on me that I know is like divine. I know it's like, oh, no, people really need to hear this because ain't nobody else gonna say this, right? So Friday the 13th, when I wanted to do the live, I was so deep in study that I was like, you know what? Let me go ahead and keep up the momentum before I lose what I have coming to me. And I hadn't shared it with you yet. And so I feel like I need to do that before I get up off here. It's not going to be long, but it was just from out of nowhere. It was, that's how it happens for me. So because it was Friday the 13th, I decided that I was going to look up some scriptures. What I decided to look up was because it was Friday the 13th, I put Revelations 6:13 and 6:14 because it was the 13th and the 14th, and I knew they were both big days. Let me tell you what the book of Revelation had to say. And then there was another one I'm gonna read to you, but that's all. I was like, you know what? Let me see what this damn Bible got to say. If I just look up the scriptures 6:13 and 6:14, since these is both very powerful days, what book am I gonna look up? You know what? Yeah, let's just look up Revelations. Let me write it. All right. I wanted to read the whole thing because I was like, you know what? I'm not going to. I want to, but I'm not going to. But let me tell you something, y'all. Maybe I'll come back tomorrow and read the whole chapter 6, because the very first sentence in chapter 6, I'm like, oh, we spent all day. That's where my study started the other day, Friday, with the lamb. Remember that? And we talked about the lamb. I didn't get to talk a lot about my research on the lamb, like the history of the lamb and the etymology of the lamb and all of that stuff, which we still got to get to. But that's what I was really going to harp on. And then I was like, nah, let me look up what 6:13 is in the Revelations. I'm going to just read this first verse, and then I'm going to go to verse 13. Revelations 6:1, right? Now, mind you, I started that morning doing a whole deep dive in myths and secrets and symbols and sacred objects about the Lamb, because we spent so much time talking in that long live, the 9-hour live, about Jesus, the Lamb, and why it had to be the Lamb and shit like that when we had just come out of the age of the Ram. Like, why the Lamb? That didn't make no sense to me. And so I was like, yeah, I'm going to start with the Lamb for the next day. So I started doing all this shit. And then I was like, you know what? Let me detour. Everybody talking about it's Friday 13 and no King's Day the next day. It's a first sentence. And I saw when the Lamb opened one of the seals, and I heard, as it were, the noise of thunder, and one of the 4 beasts saying, come and see. Oh, oh, oh. And I saw, this is number 2. And I saw, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat on him had a bow, and a crown was given unto him. Oh, and he went forth conquering and to conquer. Maybe I should read the whole thing, because I had only read where I intended to read, which was 13 and 14, because it's 6:13 and 6:14. Y'all see how this shit be happening? And when he had opened the second seal, I heard the second beast say, come and see. My whole body is fucking buzzing. And there, and there went out another horse that was red, and the power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth. I don't remember. But listen to what I just read. He that satteth upon the red horse, you heard, where is that? And power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another. And there was given unto him a great sword. And when he had opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say, Come and see. And I beheld, and lo, a black horse, and he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand. And I heard a voice in the midst of our four beasts say, A measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny, and see thou hurt not the oil and wine, and the oil and the wine. Been a while since watching a live. Today and yesterday's lives were on point. That passage just gave me chills. Me too. Like every hair on my body is standing on end. And let's see, it said, okay, yep. And when he had opened the fourth seal, I heard the voice of the fourth beast say, Come and see. And I looked and beheld a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed with him, and power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth, to kill with sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with the beasts of the earth. And when he had opened the fifth seal, I saw under the altar the souls of them that were slain for the word of God, and for the testimony which they held. And they cried with a loud voice, saying, How long, O Lord, holy and true, dost thou not judge and offend our blood on them that dwell on the earth? Listen, oh, duh. And white robes were given unto every one of them, and it was said unto them that they should rest yet for a little season, until their fellow servants also and their brethren that should be killed as they were should be fulfilled. And I beheld when he had opened the sixth seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood. Now this is 6:13, which is what I started with. I was like, damn, I wonder what that revelation say about 6:13, since it's Friday the 13th. This is what it say. And the stars of heaven fell onto the earth, even as a fig tree casteth her untimely figs when she is shaken of a mighty wind. And the heaven departed as a scroll, when it was rolled together, and every mountain and every island were moved out of their places, and the kings of the earth, and the great men, and the rich men, and the chief captains, and the mighty men, and every bondman, and every bondman and every free man hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains, and said to the mountains and rocks, Fall on us, hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne, and from the wrath of the Lamb. For the great day of his wrath is come, and who shall be able to stand? Now listen, every hair on my body is buzzing, because I had a thought while I was reading this. Now the first day I only read from 13 to the end of that chapter, which is 17. And I had this thought. And the thought was, is every time we read like the Revelations and stuff like that, and what things are like gonna be like in the end, and we think about like the story of the Sibyls, you feel me, and the sibling books that were stolen and became the foundational basis for like the Torah and the Bible and the Quran. So I'm thinking about all this shit. I'm thinking about like the manipulation, the necessary manipulation of time, and how everything that is said or of the mother had been usurped by the father. And so the first thought was like, damn, if we gonna read this book right, then maybe everywhere where it says he, we should change it to she. Maybe we'll get something different from it. Because if this book, which I told you while I was in ceremony with Oya 7 days before my first grandchild, 7 days before I became a crone, she said, I know you hate the Bible, but you have to read it to see me in it. I'm here. I'm in it. That happened while I was tripping on acid for 16 hours. She's like, now open this book to this page and open this book to that page. And unfortunately, I don't have them pages no more because the book that I wrote all this, my whole 6-week road trip across the country in, was stolen the first month I was in California. So my Akashic record reading, 25 pages long, stolen. So anyway, but that's what she said. Everywhere I tell you to go tonight, see me in it. And every single scripture that I remember, one scripture was in Isaiah, one was in Jeremiah, several were in the Revelations, and one was in John. I do remember that. But ask me what the scripture numbers was, I don't remember. But she said, now look deeper. Before even reading the scripture, every single scripture that she took me to numerologically reduced to the number 9. I was like, what the fuck am I seeing? Is this real? Every single scripture she took me to reduced to the number 9. I was like, what the fuck? I'm talking about the name of the scripture with the numbers of the scripture. Every single one reduced to the number 9. I was fucking hollering, right? But she said, see me in it. See me in it. See me in it. See me in it. And so just the other day on Friday the 13th, I was like, damn, maybe this shit, this chapter 6, everywhere. Because listen, when it talks about this right here, this last section where it says, and the kings of the earth and the great men and the rich men and the chiefs and the captains, and they were so scared about what they were witnessing that they went. Isn't that what they're telling y'all now? Isn't that what they're telling y'all right now? That the ultra wealthy have what? Have bunkers and hideouts deep in the mountains everywhere on earth, preparing for the end. Isn't that what they tell you? Isn't that what they tell you right now? That the ultra rich have been building bunkers. There are many of them right here in Los Angeles, by the way. Many, 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 many. Old ones from like the Red Scare. Like when they thought the Soviet Union was going to attack the United States, they'd already built bunkers in preparation for an invasion of Russia. That's what that movie Red Dawn was about. All of them bunkers, many of them abandoned now. There's one guy that does tours of the old LA bunkers up in the mountains right here in LA, right? But isn't that what they're telling you? How all these people got these like crazy next level bunkers built with enough food to allow people to survive, so X number of people to survive for like 10 years. Listen to this shit right here. It say all the kings of the earth, the great men, the rich men, the chief captains, the mighty men, the bondsmen, the free men, hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains and said to the mountains and the rocks, please fall on us and hide us from the face of him. So I was like, damn, what if that was supposed to be she? What if that was supposed to be she? They said to the mountains and to the rocks, because what do we learn in goddess worshiping society in the history about the significance of caves, the significance of mountains as sacred places inside the mother's bodies? The mountains seen as the mother's throne on earth. Mountains seen as the mother's throne on earth, and caves always represented her holy pit, her vagina, her vaginal opening. Isn't that what we heard? Isn't that what we read in the Great Cosmic Mother and in Missing Secrets? That mountains are always synonymous with the mother sitting upon her throne. And so these dudes are like, please fall on us so we don't have to face her judgment. But they say, instead, the mighty men, all the men, and said to the mountains and the rocks, please fall on us, hide us from the face of she that sitteth on the throne from the wrath of the lamb. Yeah, I'm gonna have to talk to y'all about the lamb research. There ain't no way to avoid it. I'm gonna have to talk to y'all about the origin of the lamb. But who am I always saying? I am buzzing all over the fucking place. Who am I always saying? What am I always saying about Oya right now? What am I always saying about Oya? What did I tell y'all about Oya last night? That her move through Capricorn in preparation to meet her quote husband Shango Aquarius, and that as of November 19th, she is firmly planted on her throne. Don't I keep saying that? This her time. She up on the throne till 2024, till 2044. Isn't that what I'm always saying? And I am just called all coincidental. Like, you know what? Let me see what Revelation 6:13 got to say. Since she's the great revealer, right? I was like, let me look up 6:13 in Revelations. Let me look up 6:14 in Revelations. And I said, oh, I see. Okay. So it say, please fall on us and hide us from her, because that's what it is. That sitteth on the throne. That's who it is. From the wrath of the Lamb. Now, why would it be from the wrath of the Lamb? Why would it be that the Lamb would be focusing its attention on the kings and the great men and the rich men and the chiefs and the captains and the mighty men and the bondsmen and the free men and all of that shit? Why would the why would man why would the Lamb have wrath towards them? If the Lamb is Jesus, why would he have wrath towards them? He the one that done set them all up. The kings and the Lamb is the one who set them all up. Isn't that, am I wrong? He the one that set them all up. Why would he have wrath towards him? That don't make no sense. Why would he be the one to have wrath towards the kings and the rich and the great and the chiefs and the captains and the mighty and the bondmen and the freemen? Why? Why would the Lamb set his sights on them? I thought the Lamb came to the Revelations to go to war with the devil. I thought that was his mission, was to go to war, a spiritual war, like with the devil. Why would he set his sights on them when he the one put them up? He the one to put them up. You feel me? For the great day of his wrath, we need to rewrite that. For the great day of her wrath is come, and who shall be able to stand but she? Y'all hear me? I had another epiphany that day, yesterday. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. Let me see if I can find it. Y'all. 218, page 218. Oh, excuse me. So since yesterday everybody was calling it No King's Day, I was like, all right, well, let me try the same thing with the Book of Kings. So let's see. And I didn't read it, I just marked it. So we reading it for the first time together. So Kings. Here it is. Kings 6:13. And I will dwell among the children of Israel, and I will not forsake my people Israel. So Solomon built the house and finished it. And he built the walls of the house within the boards of cedar, with the boards of cedar, both the floor of the house and the walls of the ceiling. And he covered them on the inside with wood, and covered the floor of his house with planks of fir. I remember. Okay, let me keep going. And he built 20 cubits on the sides of the house, both the floor and the walls with boards of cedar. He even built it for within, even the oracle, even for the most holy place. An oracle? And the house that is the temple before it was 40 cubits long. So the first thing we need to do, because I did not read this section yesterday, I was just like, yeah, I'm going to just mark it to read later. So now we need to go and do is look up plants and symbols and sacred objects. Let's look up plants and symbols and sacred objects and see what the significance of cedar is, since they write it in there so much. Okay, cedar is page 461. The cedars of Lebanon were made world famous by the high regard in which they were held by the writers of the Bible. Much of the wood for Solomon's symbolic and probably mythical temple came from these fabulous cedars. Hebraic reverence for the cedar was evidently copied from the attitude of the Assyrians, who said, quote, the cedar is the tree that produces the pure charm and drives away unfriendly demons, end quote. They believed that the cone of a cedar tree could heal the sick, that the secret names of the gods were written on the sacred cedar, and that tree itself, probably understood, was, quote, the revelation of the oracles of heaven and earth, end quote. Oh, fuck. Like the oak groves of Europe, the cedar groves were considered auricular shrines. You see how I just did that? That was not planned, because I had not even read the fucking scripture. I was just like, you know what? Since they calling it King's Day, let me search Kings 2, 6:13 and 6:14. Hold on. I got another one. 240. This is 2 Kings, because you know there's 2 books of Kings. Hold on, what 13 and 14 got to say? Oh, this was one of my stories back in them days. Okay. And he said, go and spy where he is, that I may send and fetch him. And it was told him, saying, behold, he is... What the fuck? Y'all are not gonna fucking believe this. Does anybody remember where I said I was born? Any of y'all? Probably not. Anybody remember where I said I was born? I cannot believe this right now. Does anybody remember where I said I was born? I was born in Alabama. I was born in a small town in Alabama, Southeast Alabama. Listen to this shit. I gotta save this page. Hold on. I did not read these 2. I only read the Revelations one. But I had this little breakthrough on Friday. I was like, you know what? They talking about King's Day. Let me look up 6:13 and 6:14. They talking about King's Day. Let me look up Revelations, 1 Kings and 2 Kings, 6:13 and 6:14. I did not read these until right now. And listen to this. And he said, go and spy where he is, that I may send and fetch him. And it was told to him, saying, behold. And I'm gonna tell you something else that's crazy about this. The next 2 words, behold, he is, those next 2 words, he is italicized. I'm like, why is it italicized? Because guess what the next 2 words are? It says, and it was told to him, saying, behold, capitalized, behold, he is capitalized in Dothan. I was born and raised in Dothan, Alabama. D-O, spelled exactly the same way. D-O-T-H-A-N. Y'all didn't hear me. I never knew this word was in the fucking Bible. My whole life, I never knew this word was in the Bible. This is the Old Testament. And he said, go and spy where he is, that I may send and fetch him. And it was told to him, saying, behold, he is in Dothan. That's italicized. He is in Dothan. 14. There sent he thither horses and chariots and a great host, and they came by night and compassed the city about. And when the servant of the man of God, was risen early and gone forth, behold, a host compassed the city, both with horses and with chariots. And his servant said unto him, alas, my master, how shall we do? Is this the story? Hold on. I think this is it. I'm gonna have to read this. Remember, I was saying the other day that I needed to revisit, and I completely just blew it off, that I needed to revisit the story of the failing of the walls of Jericho. Remember, I was saying that this was a couple of weeks ago. I was like, damn, maybe I need to revisit that story about how the walls of Jericho were brought down. This story is about Elisha, who was the he was like Elijah who defeated Jezebel. Elijah who defeated Jezebel was Elisha's mentor. He followed Elijah around. And so supposedly the story is that when Elijah was being called by God, he told Elisha that if you are with me when God comes to get me, you will have all the power that I had in earth. And so remember, I told y'all a few weeks ago, all matter of fact, like that Elijah supposedly was the only man in the Bible that never actually died, that a chariot of fiery horses came in broad daylight, scooped his ass up, took him into heaven to walk with God forever and ever. And as he was going up in the chariot, he left his cloak and his staff to Elisha, and Elisha picked up the cloak and staff and became as powerful in his ministry as Elijah. This story, 6:13 and 6:14, is about Elisha, the section we just read. But I'm like, I think this is the story, and I think it was Elisha that led the thing to, quote, chant down the walls of Jericho. Child, I'm in my feels right now. Whoa. The reason I'm in my feels right now is, I'll tell you this. The other breakthrough I had the other night when thinking, yeah, let me put these dates. Let me look up these dates in the Revelations. And it happens to be the opening of the 6 seals. That's the thing that I came down on Friday the 13th, the day before, quote, King's Day, as pronounced by Donald Trump. And Donald means the world ruler. That's the scripture, is the opening of the 6 seals. And then the other scripture I come down on has got the name of the city where I was born and raised in it. That's deep as fuck. That's deep as fuck. Oh, and the one thing I'll leave y'all with, because now I'm definitely getting up off here, is I had this idea. That's how I got on the thing about Ayah. I got on this idea about if they're always talking about the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end, and the this and the this, and a day in the eyes of the Lord is as a year, or whatever is 1,000, whatever, right? For men. I'm like, and then I thought about what I talked to y'all about the other night about how there's this very obscure style of astrology that is telling us that we may not actually be in the age of Aquarius. We might be in the age of Gemini. And here is what we are using as the evidence that we may actually be in the age of Gemini, right? Like, that's a lot of time from Aquarius. How many signs is that? That's 4 ages. That's a 4-age difference. You feel me? And I was like, damn, how you mess up time? That's a lot of time to be in the age of Gemini as opposed to the age of Aquarius. That's like 12. Shit. That's like that's like a 10,000 year difference. Am I right? Damn right. That's like a 10,000 year difference of time. That ain't no small chunk of time from age to age, and each age is 2100 and like 2150, 2165 years. How you get the time messed up that much that we might not be in the age of Aquarius, we might actually be in the age of Gemini? I'm gonna have to watch this video again. But anyway, the reason I'm mentioning that is all of this stuff, and if we actually in the age of Gemini, right? And and I told you that the age of Gemini is the age that preceded the supposed beginning of the Bible. That the age that came before, quote, the age of Taurus, which is where the Bible starts, is in the Garden of Eden, the age of Taurus. And I'm like, why didn't it start an age earlier, like in the age of Gemini, right? That would have been that would have been the age preceding the age of Taurus, right? And so I'm like, okay. And then the scriptures say something to the effect of, and the last shall be the first, and the first shall be the last. And we always thought it was talking about people. The last shall be the first, and the first shall be the last. This is talking about time, switching time. So we perceive that the beginning of at least the modern age is, quote, Genesis, because that's what you ask. Christians, they believe time, they believe the earth started 6,000 years ago, just like the Bible said, that these are called creationists, right? That the Bible was literal, and it literally, he gave birth to the earth about 6,000 years ago at the beginning of the age of Taurus, right? And so these little obscure astrologers saying, no, we ain't actually in the age of Aquarius because of how these motherfuckers been manipulating time. We actually in the age of Gemini, and here's the evidence of it. And Gemini is the age preceding the age of Taurus, which the Bible, the Quran, the Torah, and began in. And so I'm sitting here thinking about all the shit, mind blown, fucked up. What this mean? Make it plain. Keep it simple. Like, what this mean for us? You feel me? Because I ain't trying to go into no conspiracy theory wormhole. I'm trying to understand what it means for us, like what it means in real time. And so I'm sitting here looking at the scripture in the Revelation just because it's Friday the 13th. You feel me? I'm like, it's Friday the 13th. Let me see what Revelation 6:13 got to say. And this particular passage is about the opening of the seals. It's talking about the 4 horsemen, right? And I'm like, okay, so what does it mean? And then she telling me, I'm always in here. Read it different. I'm always in here. Read it different. And so just Friday, I was like, okay, what does this mean? What does this mean? Because it's a lot. And I'm trying to make this shit plain. And I'm like, oh my God, what if Revelations should be read not as a telling of things to come in the end, but that the Revelations is actually the Genesis story? That the Revelations should be the first book. Do you understand what I'm saying? The Revelations is like, for the new age, the Revelations is the first book, not Genesis. That the Revelations is the first book. I was like, maybe we got to read it like that. Maybe I need to read this whole book, the book of Revelations, and see if what I'm thinking in my head tracks. Like, does this shit trick? Because how does the Revelations end? How does the book of Revelations end? So this is Revelations 22. Okay, this is Revelations 22. So let me just start. Let's see what. So let's just do the same thing. Revelations 22, but let's go to 13 and 14. Okay. Revelations 22, verse 13 says, I am the Alpha and the Omega, y'all. Verse 22, chapter 22, verse 13 says, I am the Alpha and the Omega, God motherfucking damn. I am the Alpha and the Omega. I am the beginning and the end. The first, the first and the last. Blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life, and may enter in through the gates of the city. For without are dogs and sorcerers and whoremongers and murderers and idolaters, and whoever loveth and maketh a lie. I, Jesus, have sent mine angel to testify unto you these things in the churches, and I am the root and the offspring. I am the root and the offspring of David, and the bright and morning, listen, and am the bright and morning star. And the Spirit and the bride say, come. And let him that heareth say, come. And let him take the water of life freely. For I testify unto every man that heareth these words of the prophecy of this book, if any man shall add unto these things, God shall add unto him the plagues that are written in this book. And if any man shall take away from the words of this book of prophecy, God shall take away his part out of the book of life, and out of the holy city, and from the things which are written in this book. He which testifieth these things saith, surely I come quickly. Amen. Even so, come, Lord Jesus. The grace of our Lord Jesus Christ be with you all. Amen. That's how it ends, y'all. But so somebody said, remember, the fake Christ will come before the true Christ. That's why Gemini is the beginning. But what the whole world is waiting for is the Aquarian age. But what's the fake Christ? And which Christ is the fake Christ and which Christ is the true Christ? As we've been talking about Gemini all this time. And Gemini's two-faced presentation. Jesus as a Gemini, because according to the Bible, according to Christian, okay, I can see that. According to your fake Christmas, they say Jesus wasn't born in the spring. Jesus was born when? On the 25th, right? That's what they say. And so here we go again, man. I got to get into this, but I can't get into this now. But if Jesus was born on December 25th, wouldn't that make him a Capricorn? And if Jesus was born on the 25th as a Capricorn, which is ruled by the planet Saturn, and Capricorn, the half goat man, is who y'all say the devil is, and Satan is Saturn. The Capricorn is the devil, the goat man, and Satan is Saturn. That's what y'all say, Christians. Then why was Jesus born? Why was Jesus born? Why would y'all make Jesus born on the 25th? Because both Jesus and Satan, both Jesus and the goat man are the same. That's his two-facedness. That's his two faces, his dark half and his light half in the same sign. His dark half and his light half, born in the same sign, existing in the same sign. Jesus and the devil is one. Jesus and the devil is one. When one is down, the other one knows he up front. He the one. He the one. That's deep. That scripture that I have been quoting over and over and over again, talking about Oya. This scripture that I'm always talking about is Oya. Even yesterday is Oya, right? The planet Pluto, right? I've been saying this for years. Oya is the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end, right? And the governess of all space in between. Hadn't that been what I've been saying since 5 years ago? And I'm like, okay, let's see what the last, because I'm having this idea about how if the first is the last and the last is the first, and they talk about it might be the age of Gemini, and I had this epiphany on Friday. It was like, damn, well, what if Revelations is actually the first book and not the last book? Like maybe if we know that they took the Sibylline books and flipped them shits inside out and turned them upside down, then yeah, okay, maybe these Gemini people talking about it's the age of Gemini, maybe they had it right, because Gemini was the astrological sign that preceded Taurus when the Bible began. So let's just see what the end, this wasn't even planned. Let's just see what the very end of Revelation say, and let's just go with 13 and 14, because that's what I've been on. And there it is, written in bold red. I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end, the first and the last. All right, y'all. All right, I'm done. I got to go get myself something to eat. I haven't even eaten breakfast. I'm hungry. My brain is on override right now. Just reading from this book called what? The Idols of Perversity. Had me on one last night, sitting at the bar screaming. They like, what the fuck is wrong with this bitch? And then we get up in here today because I was like, I can't let the weekend end and tell y'all what came down on me on Friday the 13th and Saturday the 14th. How is my birth city mentioned in this reading? I am having a moment. I'm having a whole ass moment. I'm having a whole ass moment. I'm having a whole ass moment. I'm like, okay, let's just see what the end of the book say. Let's just go with 13. I'm the Alpha and the Omega. I said, wait a minute, what the fuck? Come on in. Come on through, Ma. Come on through. Now I need y'all to book these readings. We are in the week of the solstice, of the summer solstice. We done had 2 major throwdowns. Last night, 6 hours. The night before that, 9 hours. The night before that, 7 hours. Talking about specifically last night why the 20th promises to be so magnanimous, and why all of these goddamn why all of these astrologers are saying, I don't know, on the summer solstice, y'all might need to stay indoors. Y'all might need to stay in the house. And I'm saying that's not the position I'm taking. I want y'all to know that. But I'm telling y'all that all of the shit that has been happening has been a fucking preparation. It's been a preparation by this monstrosity in office. And the 20th, I think, is going to be a campaign waged by him to take advantage of the longest day of the year. But I think the coup d'etat is going to come on July 4th. That's what I think. I think his coup d'etat is coming on July 4th. That's why I went into that whole diatribe. And I know I be getting off task all over the place because shit be coming from all over the place. But that whole diatribe I went on yesterday about the workshop that I had taught, y'all might need to go and revisit that shit. That 7-week workshop that I taught on America's First Pluto Returns. And that's what it's called, America's First Pluto Returns. So if you want to look the videos up in the search engine, y'all might need to be revisiting. I might need to be revisiting those videos because I spent a lot of time doing a lot of preparation and study to teach 7 weeks worth of workshops. And y'all may need to go revisit those videos too. And the reason I got on that is because the country was born on July 4th. But when the return happened, where Pluto was in heaven at 0 degrees in Aquarius at the time that the Constitution was signed and the America became a nation, was the anniversary, the 248th anniversary of where Pluto was when that happened, ended up on February 20th, 2022. 2 days later, we were in this aggression with Ukraine and Russia on the very first president's birthday. I was like, yeah, so this, but it's still in celebration of the birth of the United States under this totalitarian, what you call it, president of the United States, who's in his number 11, his master number presidency in the United States. I'm like, the 20th, he is going to take advantage of, because one, he is shifting out of his sign, his birth sign, Gemini. He's shifting out of his birth sign, but at the same time, he's shifting into the season of the heart. At the same time that he's shifting out of his birth sign, he's shifting into the season of the heart, the hottest season of the year, the season that guarantees that people descend into madness because they too hot outside and they don't get enough to keep them cool on the inside, so their head go crazy. That's the 20th. And that campaign, whatever that campaign, because I'm telling you, he's going to do something on the 20th. I promise you. There's some okey doke, something that this motherfucker, whether it's overt or whether it's behind closed doors, to what do they call it? To incite violence. He is going to do something to humans to make them lose their shit. I'm telling you, watch out for this week, the 20th. He has got something up his sleeve, whether it's behind closed doors or whether it's overt. It could be both. You feel me? Because every time they do something overt, is to keep your eyes and attention on something that they're doing covertly. So it's probably going to be both. And even that campaign that he wages, this is him hunkering down. This is him doubling down on this fucking ice raid shit that's currently going on. And that too will be a chessboard setup for what he really got planned, which is on July 4th. Bet money. Mm-hmm. Bet money. Bet money. So get your readings. Y'all know this is my only form of income right now. Get your readings. This is a phenomenal week to be ahead of the curve instead of playing catch up behind the curve. Get your reading. Email me if you need a reading. evoemetemp@gmail.com. I shouldn't even have to be asking y'all to get these readings because the last 3 weeks I have been putting y'all on game like none other. Tell me somebody else that is putting you on game in the exact same way, in a way that's equally profound. And I will go and follow them. I'll go and follow their page. I'll go and listen to what they got to say. Here I am. I ain't even a motherfucking, what you call it? Astrologer. But I guarantee you nobody is teaching you your astrology the way that I am. I can't read y'all motherfucking chart. Joe can't. I can barely read my own. But I can take the little I know and apply it in places in ways that nobody else is. This was a moment we had today, and it wasn't even intended because I'm dog ass tired. But how the scripture I'm going to read, just because it's number 13, and it says what I've been saying. I am the out. She, as all y'all, is the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. The first shall be the last, and the last shall be the first. Get your readings and stop playing with me. Get your readings. Shit, I have to pay rent. Get your readings. And y'all know, even this week, my mouth still hurts. Like, I developed a canker because I think it was, what's today? Today is Sunday. I think it was Tuesday last week that I did some kind of drop down on y'all or whatever, and everybody started asking me for readings. So I started sending out these mass emails. I did 5 readings on Tuesday. 5. And I have a limit. 3 readings a day. That's all I'm doing. Y'all don't know this shit is deep ass motherfucking work doing readings. And I was like, nah, I'm only going to do 3. But I was like, nah, I need this money. 5 readings in a day. Ideally, that should have been 5 hours, right? I'm like, I got to stop playing with my money. I don't think there was a single reading that I did that was under 2 hours. I don't think there was it was 3.5 hours. It was 3.5 hours. And I know y'all love me. You feel me? And so y'all ain't going to tell me, I really love you and I appreciate you, but please stop talking to me because now you playing with your money. It's an hour. Let's get off. Y'all ain't going to do that. Y'all ain't going to do that. And y'all know I talk too much. So y'all know I ain't going to do that. So I did 5 readings. I started the first reading at 10 a.m. and I did not get off my Zoom until 10:30. I'm telling you, back to back to back. I had scheduled myself trying to take 30 minutes between every reading, and it ended up being more like 10 minutes. Hurry up, pee, grab something to drink, sit back down, ready for the next one. I did 5 readings on Tuesday, and I was literally on the Zoom from 10 a.m. to 10:30 that night. Get your readings. Stop playing with me. I ain't charging y'all hardly nothing, no way. Get your readings and stop playing games. I got to get these white people this motherfucking money so they don't feel emboldened to kick me out my shit. Get your readings. Stop playing games. See, look in the comment section. Your fave homegirl said, yeah, those readings are a lot. Okay. I was thinking about a homegirl of mine. She was a homegirl. And she's a reader. So she was like, if you're going to start doing this shit, she was the one that convinced me to go ahead and start doing readings. I'd been doing readings in person, but I had not been doing like Zoom readings. And this girl who charges a lot more than me, she was like, this is my full-time job. I only take digital readings. I only do like Zoom. And she said, I've gotten my shit down packed, like in terms of her whole like process, where she makes $1,000 a day doing readings. That way, she said, I make $1,000 a day. That way I can take the very needed 2 days off a week that I need to recover, 1 weekday and 1 weekend day. And I make $1,000 a day doing readings. She was like, so if you're going to do this, she said, just know. This is the first thing she told me. She said, girl, be disciplined about your time. She said, be disciplined about your time because it's too easy because you care about people to give them all the goods and your ass is, and then she's saying, your ass is 10 minutes over, or your ass is 20 minutes over. I'm like, damn, I'm like an hour over. I'm like 45 minutes over every time I do a reading. Somebody paid for a 30-minute reading, an hour and 15 minutes in. You feel me? She's like, girl, she's like, this shit is hard work. Don't let nobody tell you otherwise. This shit is deep. It will wear you out. You do 2 readings and you feel like, damn, I need to go take a nap. She's like, monitor your time and monitor your money. You want to give everybody everything and they ain't going to stop you. As long as you giving, they going to take it. So, all that to say, get your readings. Get your readings. I'm going to have to get back out here and start ripping white people asses. And it's the last thing on earth I want to do. It's the absolute last thing on earth I want to do. I don't want to do that again ever in this life. Thank you, Golden Key. Thank you, Golden Key. I appreciate you. I love you for that. That's right on. I like that. I like that a lot. All right, now I'm gonna go. I want to shout out Java Watson too, because even though I'm not disciplined, I get it. We trying to find another word for discipline. I get it, but she be jolly on the spot. She be trying to give me them fish hooks. She be trying to give me them Sandman hooks. Please stop talking, Cassandra. It's 4 hours. She'll be putting the time in the time. Bitch, you been on here 3 hours. Bitch, you been on here 4 hours. Bitch, it's 6 hours now. Goddamn, it's 9 hours and a whole giant paragraph of fish hooks. Get the fuck up off the stage. I love her for that. Now I have to create the commitment and consistency to comply to my own request. You feel me? I have to do that because I know the mother got a lot to say, but I'll be honest, I'm not making the money that I need to make to justify being up on here 6, 7, 8, 9 hours. You feel me? If I was getting paid $153 an hour, which is what I charge, which still ain't nothing, if I was getting paid $153 an hour for them 6, 7, 8, 9 hour lives, then I'd be like, okay, then I would just sit here like a true oracle and just let this shit spill because I know that $153 an hour is coming through and I ain't got to worry. I can just be up in here unabashed, unbridled, and just let the shit flow through because all of my needs are going to get met. I can't do this shit like this. You feel me? So get your readings. And I'll be honest, I foresee a future where personal readings are not what I have to do to quote support my life. Not only is that a desire, I have a feeling that once certain things fall into place, that because y'all get fed, whether you internalize the depth of the meal, y'all get fed. What I do, quote, as an oracle here, and y'all might think I'm just, quote, teaching, and y'all are literally witnessing goddamn ceremony up in here that even still can't come through the way that it needs to because I'm like, okay, my time. You feel me? I have a suspicion. I believe, I am certain that if there was no thought having to be given to, damn it, Sunday, I'm still $400 short on my rent, how I'm going to go out here and get this shit. You feel me? That if that was never something I had to think about at all, that this delivery, the way it comes through as straight ass channeling, would secure me because the people would see. I don't need a personal reading. I don't need a personal reading. Everything that she is saying applies to me. I can feel that shit. Who needs a personal reading when I am literally getting this reading through this medium that I know everybody that's watching is getting something that is peculiar and specific to them, that the mother jumping out of her motherfucking mouth can talk to the many very personally, even though it's coming off as just this testimony that's coming through her quote for the masses, that the mother is speaking 1,000 languages at the time, every time this woman opened her motherfucking mouth. Who needs to pay for a personal reading when for 9 hours ain't nothing but straight channeling coming through? Straight channeling. All these fucking missing links, all these fucking missing puzzle pieces just clicking together. And my own personal life makes sense in the moment. And I know that everybody is watching, is having the same experience for their peculiar fucking problem in their life right at this minute. That's what I see happening. That's what needs to happen. And then once we create the example of what has to happen to free up that potentiality that exists in so many women, Black women who are literally doing the same thing, struggling, working multiple motherfucking gigs and shit to support their lives, even though they are convicted to do something bigger. The something bigger that they envisioning and convicted to do, they know can change everything, but do not have the freedom to make that shit unfold the way that it's supposed to be unfolding. The way that it's supposed to be unfolding, to free that genius up so they ain't got to be gig workers. They ain't got to have, people talking about, well, I want to own my own business. Why would a bitch say she want to own her own business? One, she don't want to be a slave. But I'm telling the sister just the other night, I said, don't get it twisted. I said, somebody needs to tell you that, yes, the freedom of being self-employed, fine. It's awesome. To not have to go into a space where you constantly under scrutiny, cool. But no, don't let nobody fucking romanticize that bullshit. Ask any business owner, especially any Black woman business owner, and she will tell you, you work 3 times as many hours. You do 4 times as much work owning your own business. That's not what you're trying to do. You're not trying to create more work for yourself. That's not what we're trying to do. And because we're doing all of this shit by ourselves in our peculiar place, seeing that we don't have the kind of network of support that we need to be able to actively work less and still create more, generate more wealth as we work less. As we relinquish shit, as we hand off shit. Did a whole 2-hour reading with the sister the other day. She's like, damn, I never thought about it like that. And it's funny because her husband had told her that day, like, the vision that you have is cool. He was like, but you don't do the work. You hand the idea to somebody else. You take the credit for it. You can even direct from above. But girl, your ass is 51. This ain't the time for you to be creating more work for yourself. And so she took an automatic position of resistance against her husband. And then I tell her almost verbatim what her husband said that morning. She's like, this shit is fucking crazy. I said, what? She said, girl, I'm telling you, my husband said exactly the same words this morning. But because I'd had this idea for a business in my head so long, I wasn't willing to, quote, give it to somebody else. I said, ain't nobody telling you to give away your dream. I said, this may very well be the business that you need to free you up. I said, what are you passionate about? She is like, for real? I said, yes. What are you passionate about? She said, traveling and then coming home and resting. Traveling and then coming home and resting. That's all I want to do. I said, this business idea that you have that you ain't passionate about. She's like, well, I just see a need for it. That ain't what the fuck I asked you. I didn't ask you if there was a need for it. It's a great idea. Just because it emanated out of your head doesn't mean you have to execute the whole thing. Just because you the genius with the idea doesn't mean you have to do all the work. Share the idea with people younger than you and more expertise than you and more know-how than you. and still committed to helping your dream come to fruition while you govern like a CEO governs. They don't do all the work. They don't do none of the work, as a matter of fact. They's like, look, I'm watching y'all execute my vision. I get some input over there, some input over there. But generally, I can work a 5-day week, a 4-day week for 5 hours a day, and I'm good. Y'all executing the vision. Y'all getting paid. Y'all generating the wealth that we all share. I don't have to build the whole thing by my motherfucking self. She talking about doing the business in her home. Her husband's like, what? You don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. And then I get on the call, don't know that she's had this conversation at all. I'm saying, if your passion is to travel and to then go home for a little while and relax, that's your passion. Guess what? Do the business that you're talking about, but hand it off so you can govern from afar. This business may very well be the opportunity that generates the wealth that you need to do the traveling and the coming home and chillaxing. Your business that you can govern from afar while you're traveling. I said, and if you want to add some oomph to it, create a travel blog that's peculiar to you and your experience. You know, RN turned Globetrotter or some shit. You feel me? And then that too can be another extended source of income. Your little travel blog, because everybody love that shit these days. Everybody love little travel blogs, living vicariously through others. And so I said that, and she was like, yo, I cannot believe this right now. I said, what? She said, girl, she said, just this morning, my husband said damn near verbatim what you just said. I said, well, then there you go. There you go. Because I'm telling you over and over and over and over and over and over again, your mother does not want you working more. She does not want you working harder. She does not want you to have the strict discipline, none of that shit. And we're going to have to accept that shit. And I'm trying to transfer that message to y'all. There are enough Black women in this country with the way that we generate wealth, man, when we're convicted to something. Y'all generated $88 million in 48 hours to a bitch that has not said a word to you since she lost. She ain't sent out no thank you notes. She ain't had no party. Thank y'all. I lost, but you know what? That demonstrated y'all Black women coming together and generating that $88 million. That should have generated in the minds of everybody in this country the real power that Black women got. She ain't said nothing to you. Nothing to you. Thank you for that 88 million deuces, bitches. Deuces, bitches. This was the greatest payday I ever had. Thank you. Thank you. I'll take that loss. Thank you. But what it should have done, what she could have had the opportunity to do, even in losing, or say, yeah, we might have lost the presidency, bitch. This should demonstrate loud and clear what women have the ability to do. We don't need no motherfucker in governance to be telling us what we need to do. That even poor Black women came together and rubbed their nickels together to support this thing placed in front of them like a puppet to distract them. And here we done raised $88 million overnight. It should give you an implication of what your real power is. If y'all come together in singularity behind an idea that can benefit us all, or that you think can benefit us all. Y'all did that for the wrong idea, though. Y'all did that with the wrong singularity in mind, though. The message is not changed. The problem is not identifying that the singularity, the idea was just wrong. Your eyes was placed on the wrong thing to generate this energy behind. That's all. So now we done learned this lesson. You feel me? There is no reason that Black women, even with the things stacked against us, attempting to hold us back, that even under the worst kinds of circumstances, Black women make shit happen in the motherfucking world, and that should be enough to send us out behind now. An idea that we can genuinely unite around is us, Black women liberating us, Black women freeing us up together, Black women, so that the great primordial one can spring forth from that unity, that singularity, that uni mind, that collective consciousness that can set this shit off. There's enough resources among and between us to set this shit off without none of the one of us having to work any harder, having to work any overtime, having to do any of that bullshit, not that multi-hustle struggle shit, none of that shit. The only thing that's wrong is we out here in the world doing everything by our motherfucking self. That's it. That's the only thing wrong. So that's what I'm saying. The shit that has come down, the shit that has come through, down through me over since that goddamn. I mean, obviously other magnanimously awesome shit in the past, but this year that we have been in has been something different, man. Has been something different. Has been something next level that she is fighting like hell for us to pay attention to. So even as I'm telling y'all, book y'all readings, there is a day where the readings, I will not have to do independent readings. That y'all will be taking notes, that y'all will be open to hear. Even if every time I do a live, you say, oh, I need to take my mushrooms so I can open up more. I got mushrooms right by here. I haven't taken mushrooms since August, maybe. I think August was the last time I ate mushrooms. I'm telling you, I don't have to do that shit anymore. I don't have to do that shit to descendant ceremony anymore. I like them every now and again, but I know I'm going to feel crappy the next day because I'm really sensitive to mushrooms. I can't even remember the last time I ate acid. And it's been 2 years since the last time I did ayahuasca. You feel me? I don't need it for you to experience what you are experiencing. Ayahuasca and all of that shit is not like, first of all, it's not for individuals in the first place. It's for the oracle. It's for the oracle for you to be able to hook into the oracle. Everybody that went to go sit before the oracle wasn't eating psychedelics. The oracle was eating the ivy leaves or sitting her vagina on top of a fisher or whatever. And she was speaking to everyone in the room. This is for everybody. The mother has a message for everybody. Now, if y'all want to take mushrooms so you can tap in more, cool. But the way I see auricular divination happening in this age, it's like this, but in person. It's like this, you know. And you remember that scene in y'all know I talk in movie, so don't front. That scene in Avatar, the first Avatar, where she takes. Now I could do a breakdown of Avatar that will fuck all your dreams up. It'll fuck all your dreams up, okay? Maybe another day. Maybe I need to start getting back on these goddamn movie breakdowns. It'll fuck your dreams up. It'll break your little heart. Because I went to the movies to see Avatar and was like, damn, it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. You get caught up in the imagery and the special effects and all that shit and not recognize that as the most monstrously diabolical shit you ever seen. It's so beautiful. She take the agent into the goddamn family. She take the agent into the sacred tree that they live in. The sacred tree that they live in, that ain't enough. Then she take this motherfucker, this avatar child, this agent, this Jesus, this wolf dressed in sheep's clothing. This wolf dressed in sheep's clothing, and she take him into the sacred tree where everybody lived. And that wasn't enough. He wanted to know more. So then she was like, I ain't never showed nobody this. There's a reason. You ain't never showed nobody this, bitch. Don't take them. And she take them to the, what do they call it? The other tree. What they call the tree? I forget what they call the tree. But he watches them as they do this ceremony where they have to sit in circles around the sacred tree. They have to touch each other. They have to put their hands around each other as they little long hairs that they connect with nature. They connect with their horses. They connect with the animals. Awa, yes. Awa is the name of an African goddess. Did y'all know that? Awa. And so they sit and they connect they hair to the vines lit up that you can see all in the ground, the roots of the tree. They take their hair, they take their little ponytail and attach their skull by the hair to the ground from which they sit at the tree and then they all start dancing together. They all start dancing together like this. They all got their arms around each other. And they dancing with each other like this as their hair is connected to the roots of the fucking trees. And the ancestors that live alive in the tree start lighting up. And this circular energy between they and the tree that you can see. This circular lights generating from the tree through the people. You feel me? That's how ceremony should be. That's how ceremony should look. The tree in the moment, whoever that tree is in the moment, should be the focus. Where spirit is coming through and feeding everybody in the ceremony. Whatever it needs, whatever the tree needs to make that shit pop out, sometimes it may require the tree to take ayahuasca or to eat mushrooms or the woo. Sometimes it may take that. But these throwdowns I've been giving y'all while I live in this motherfucker by myself, always in the front of my mind is how I'm going to sustain bare minimum security of that which I possess right now. While still having spirit come through and she's like, look, I know you got a lot on your mind, bitch, but I got something to say. Let's go. Now imagine how magnanimous that would be in person in my ideal of what ceremony will eventually look like in a temple is y'all giving a little shot glass of a very mild, mushroom tea with some blue lotus flowers tossed the fuck up in there. Nothing harsh, nothing like, oh my God, I got it on it. And that's just how you got to go in the ceremony. That ain't no shit I would be doing. I would not be requiring y'all to take ayahuasca. So it won't. Nope. I won't require y'all to have a belly ache because you ate a fistful of mushrooms. Nope. You don't need that to get to where you need to be. I promise you. And I wouldn't be saying that shit if I hadn't done all the things, not just quote psychedelics, but illicit drugs too. Experiencing the highs and lows. And all. I done did all the shit. Just all the shit. I done did it. You feel me? And so my idea, like my crystal clear vision of the temple in real time is that big ass dome down the street that I told you I wanted. That's ours. That motherfucker been sitting empty for a decade. Some motherfucker in Chicago bought the shit a few years ago for $45 million or something like that. That's ours. And we have to will it so. So if we got to will it so in our consciousness when we do in our conspiracy, that shit ours. And it's effortlessly ours. You hear me? It's effortlessly ours. If you want to go deeper, down the street, 3 blocks, the Pacific building, that's ours too. That's where we going to house everybody that do the work for the temple full time. That's ours too. The dome is ours. Pacifica building, that's ours too. That's ours. And if the temple is already ours. The temple is already built. The temple is already working. The temple is already spreading like wildfire. Okay? So the dome is where we have ceremony. The dome is where we have parties. The dome is where we have our nightclub night, like the shrine that I'm always talking about in Nigeria, that Fela Kuti, the club that Fela Kuti them used to play in called the Shrine. That the turn up, that the club is a ceremony. The turn up, the dance, the titties out, that's the ceremony. Then we have regular ceremonies. Feel me? Daytime ceremonies. The weaving circles. Remember I was talking about the weaving circles? That's where that happens, right? Where we got multiplicities, 13, 20, 27 freaking poster boards written on the wall. And the weaving circles is going to be a bunch of motherfuckers coming together. You feel me? And me leading ceremony, leading the weaving circle is going to say, this is what the mother had on my spirit last night in my dream. We're going to start from there. While I'm writing, while shit is coming through for me, I'm going to yell out some words. You feel me? And I'll yell out your name. You pick up from there on the word that I yell out while I stay in my stream of consciousness. You feel me? You over there, I got another thought. Start on this, research this, write it on the board so everybody can see it. You can do the same thing. You got an idea that comes through stream of consciousness, you shout it out to the person to the right or to the left of you and say, you pick up where I left off. That's a ceremony, the weaving circle. You understand? Other ceremony. I'm sitting in the center. I'm sitting in the center as the weaver for the day, And all of you are sitting around me. Like from the center, the spiral that circles out. Just like in this bullshit ass movie, the tree, the AY tree, right? And everybody is connected to she in the center who is the voice for the mother in the moment. And we spiral out in the circle around the AY tree that's sister so-and-so in this moment, or sister so-and-so in this moment, or sister so-and-so in this moment. And if you want it, just like your holy sacrament, you can get a very mild decoction of wine and mushrooms with a little blue lotus flower tossed the fuck up in there. And if you got your baby there with you, then they can get a little grape juice to participate. And everybody from elder to baby can sit in the AY circle, either sitting close enough to touch each other or far enough out that you can still hold each other's hand or put your arm around the person to the left and right of you. And let the mother be free to speak. Completely safe, completely surrounded, in a uni mind, in a singularity of how it is the future is. How it is the future is. Anyway. Yeah. Anyway. I'll see y'all tomorrow. I'm tired and I'm hungry. All right, peace. If you want to email me, if you've emailed me and I haven't returned your email yet, please be patient with me. I've read all the emails up until this point, but I haven't responded to all the emails up until this point. I still am kind of like a little overwhelmed because I know I have to create the content and the link for our summer solstice practical ritual this week. Yeah, so email me. I have several emails I'm responding to today, but email me at evoemetemp@gmail.com. Give me money. Give me money. If you were fed, give me money. Give me money. If you were fed by that, today was a word. Today was word. It's only been 2 hours and 51 minutes, but today has me on one. Yesterday, 6 hours, had me on one. Going out and getting this book and going to the restaurant and only reading 3 paragraphs of this woman's book that just came through me, had me on one. The 9 hours the day before had me on one. I know you was fed because your ass wouldn't still be sitting here watching me after those 6 hours. So give me money, man. Treat me in the value that you receive from me the way you would if you was going to your therapist, the way you would if you was going to your doctor, the way you would if you was going to your preacher, the way you would is if you was going to school and appreciating the value of this expensive ass goddamn education that you paying for. Treat me as you would your professors. Everything in your head, bitch, I want it. Especially if me personally am $268,000 in student loan debt. Pay me the way, and I shouldn't even have to say it, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Pay me the way you would pay for information that you was getting from some man you respect. Like, that's the only way this shit is gonna change for any of us. And I'm talking specifically in this moment to us, black ass women. It is the only way that people are going to respect all of us, black women, the way they respect and would willingly, openly, unquestioningly pay some fucking penis possessing human being. Pay me. I earned 10 times over the education that I'm dropping on y'all. Please do not minimize the value of what it is I do here. Because yes, there are 250 million YouTube channels on this bitch. And I can promise you, you are not getting from any 250 million of those a fraction of what you receive here. Pay me accordingly. Pay me accordingly. I'm not begging. I'm not begging when I get on here and talk to you about my real life. Just like no other black woman who calls me and says, this shit is fucked up. Why should I have to work so hard? I've been working since I was 14. I got my first job when I was 14 and have been working ever since. She said the same thing. I've been working so hard since I was 14 years old. Why the fuck do I continue have to work this way? When I do so much for so many others, it does not compute why I have to do so much for so many others. So I'm not begging y'all. I'm not begging you when I tell you donate, contribute to, pay me the value of my labor. Pay me the value of my labor. This is not free. I'm not giving this for free. I'm giving this as an assignment. I'm doing what I do as an assignment that I am convicted to be compliant to. I'm convicted to be compliant to this assignment. Does not mean that I am minimalizing my value by not telling you, you can't watch my shit, you can't listen to my shit unless you give me a $65 a month subscription or membership. It's not free just because you can go on YouTube and watch it. It's not free, man. My value is not free. Because what that would mean is I'm not worth nothing. I'm not worth what it takes to just support the bare minimum of what I should be able to do effortlessly, which is secure my bills. Nah, that's not what's happening here. So just because this is the medium that I'm using right now, this is me casting the wide net to be compliant to the goddamn assignment. This is me casting the wide net. This is me casting the wide net. Then I'm not begging y'all for shit when I tell y'all to make contributions. Because I can promise you, this is not an arrogant statement. I can promise you that those of you, and you know who you are, because I did it too. The conviction that you had to pay tithes, 10% of what you earn every month as a Christian, probably for years. The conviction that you had to that and didn't get anything in return, but some bullshitting ass church sermons that didn't add value to your life at all. You understand? Thank you for becoming a member at the Yemaya status, Michelle. Do places? Ooh, I hope I did not slaughter that. Do places? Thank you for becoming a member. I feel like I have to say that because the churches in this country are trillion-dollar institutions and haven't contributed a thing to a single community for which they stand. Not one. So I'm not begging you because I know my worth. I know what I am worth. As a matter of fact, the content that I drop on here is priceless. It's priceless. That I could teach what I am teaching right now on this particular institution and go to a university, which I would hate the idea of doing, and be able to command what it is I ask. I know the value of what I teach. So I'm not asking you for favors. I'm not begging for donations. I'm not forcing you like the preacher do if you don't pay your tithes, and then your offerings ain't a part of that. You know what I'm saying? You pay your tithes because you're supposed to, and then anything else is a blessing. Anything else that you make over that, your offerings is different. I ain't even doing that. Closing the motherfucking doors on you and locking your ass in until you pay X amount of dollars? That ain't no shit I did. And I know they ain't told, because you wouldn't have no problem giving that motherfucking Uncle Tom ass nigga what he asked for. He wouldn't have to close the doors if you saw value. If you saw genuine value in what that nigga said and saw the immediate impact of what he said on your life, you'd be like, I'm sure gonna make this commitment. I'm gonna give this nigga $200 a month. I'm gonna give this nigga $500 a month. I'm gonna give this nigga $1,000 a month. Because listen, every time I go to a sermon, my life is instantly changed. I can see the evidence of that shit in my actual life. He wouldn't have to lock those on y'all. He wouldn't have to turn the key on you motherfuckers. You feel me? Do not do that. Do not mishear what the declaration that I am making. It's not a demand, it's a declaration. And that when other women see your conviction and your commitment to executing a vision that we've been called to be compliant to, without force, without guilt, without shame. Either you believe the shit or you don't. Either you compliant to joyfully, willfully, ecstatically compliant to the vision, or you ain't. No judgment, but you either on here because the shit tickle your fancy. Oh, that shit sound good, make me feel good. And I ain't even have to pay a dime for that shit. That's wonderful. Or something deeper is happening in you, to you. Something deeper is happening in you and to you. And you say, I want to go deeper. I want to experience more of what's happening to me. I want to understand deeper what Sister Cassandra is communicating, because I know there's something more, not just in my head and in my heart, but there's something more that I can contribute to making material, making identifiable and observable in the real world. So I ain't begging y'all for shit. That's not what's happening. I'm asking you, what is the level of your conviction, your certainty? And then what is the level of your compliance? That's it. That's all. I'm not asking you to support my life. I'm not asking you to make me rich. 0%. I'm not even asking you to make me rich. I'm not expecting the temple to make me rich. I'm expecting that the level of support that I get in the infancy of this project will free me up enough that my writing, that my lectures will make me rich. That I, as an entity, will make me rich. That shit I've always been confident about, even before I received the vision about the temple. I'm going to make me rich because I'm an awesome motherfucker that deserves to be rich. In me, without even a vision, I deserve to be rich. That's what brilliance is supposed to guarantee us. It guarantees white people that shit. All they have to do is be a mediocre version of brilliant, and they can expect that everybody around them is going to support that brilliance and make them rich. I just read a fucking, I posted a picture, came through my memories yesterday from 10 years ago, and I was like, oh my God. It was an image of a woman sitting in front of a bunch of books, a white woman sitting in front of a bunch of books. And then the commentary below it said that in this year, several of whatever this woman's name is, I forget, several of this woman's friends, closest friends, got together without her knowledge. This shit blew me. It came through my memories yesterday. I posted it 10 years ago on my Facebook page. Said that her friends got together without her knowing, and between them raised enough money to pay her salary, what she expected to make, pay her salary for a year so that she could be freed up to write. And the first book that she wrote was To Kill a Mockingbird. Her friends was like, this bitch is a genius, and she just need to be freed up to create genius, and we'll get our money back. It became the bestseller that year, selling 30 million fucking copies, and all of her friends were squared up. I posted that shit 10 years ago on my Facebook page. I said, oh, if this ain't a fucking word, if this ain't a motherfucking word, that to this day, as old as To Kill a Mockingbird is, that is still one of the required readings of everybody of every race going to school in the United States of America. That's what I'm talking about. I ain't talking about the temple making me rich. It's not the brainchild of wealth. It is the model that I feel like, once established, can set an example for everybody everywhere on earth to reproduce it how they see fit. Damn, this shit over here that these black ass bitches did is genius, and we want to replicate the shit in our town. Look, Sister Cassandra, how y'all did that? Can we get the blueprint? Can we get the motherfucking notes? Can we get the cliff notes? We want to create a temple of evolutionary emergence in our city, in our town, in our hood. Yes, I give you the shit. And then make some, like declaration that if you want the blueprints and everything, how to execute the shit from A to Z without flaw and without missing the beat, and then add to it the things that are peculiar in your neighborhood, in your city, in your town, that you can add to it to address the specific issues in your city, your town, your hood, your whatever the fuck, your city, your state, whatever, your country. Add to it as you need to solve the issues that are peculiar to you and your goddamn experience and your people experience wherever the hell you are. And then the only thing that the Temple of Evolutionary Emergence asks in return is 1% of what you take in the form of wealth or wealth generation. 1%. That's all we want. Now do what you do. Make it pop where you at. Make it pop where you at. Make it work where you at, man. And I know that shit is real. I know that shit can happen. This is not about individuals making themselves rich. That's not what the fuck I'm about. Now, I know some other motherfuckers will be out there with that bullshit. That's always, every cult is about that shit. Every fucking church is about that shit. Everything is about that. We don't have any stakes in this shit. We don't, black women in particular, black children in particular, have zero stakes in the continuation of this shit the way that it is. There's not one single solitary aspect of capitalism, of patriarchal domination. There's not one beneficial thing that has come as a consequence in my life of these monstrous institutions continuing to remain. We don't have any stakes in maintaining this shit. And me trying to make myself rich off the shit would be me having stakes in this shit. I'm awesome enough to make my money, but to become rich the way I want to become rich. I'm awesome enough for that to happen. I am. It's this institution that glorifies white mediocrity as genius, and so we'll easily throw a $175,000 salary to some motherfucker who just by the skin of his teeth got out of his bachelor's program. Or like Zuckerberg, who quit school before he even got a single degree. Do you know that there is not a single billionaire? Well, I don't know if that's changed, but as of before COVID, there was not a single billionaire born in the United States that had a college degree. Not one. I said, this could not be true. Not one billionaire born in the United States had a college degree. That only 51% of millionaires in this country have a college degree. So while you out here getting all the degrees, black woman, while you out here getting all the degrees, this was Forbes magazine. This wasn't no goddamn random shit I saw. You running out here getting all the degrees, because you feel like you need the degrees to compete, and you competing against mediocrity. You can, brilliant as you are perpetually competing against mediocrity. And I knew I was a genius before I even went to college, truth be told. I knew I was a genius even before I went to college. But I was like, you know what? Let me go ahead and get these white people degrees. Let me go on out here and get these white people degrees. You know what I'm saying? My goal is what I was taught my goal was to be. The one thing I learned from college, I was like, yep, that sounds about right. That upon exiting college, they give you like an economic exiting counseling thing, right? About how to pay your student loans back. And they was like, this is how much you borrowed through 10 years of medical school. And so the general rule of thumb is do not borrow more money than, how's it go? Do not borrow more money than you would make realistically in your field in a year, right? So what that means is, as if you're going to school to do whatever, and then you look at the median income for that field, and it says the median income is $175,000 a year. Then in the total completion of your school, you do not want to have borrowed more than $175,000. See what I'm saying? And so upon exiting my program, they said it's either 248 or 260. I think it's $268,000 for my 4 degrees and 10 years of medical school. And so I was like, I accept. That I accept. That is what rich to me is. That is my goal. Now I'm willing to accept more than my goal, but my minimum goal is to make $268,000 a year. Yep, that's my minimum. That is my minimum. is to make $268,000 a year. I was like, yeah, I like the way that sounds. $268,000 a year. You know what I'm saying? So now you won't be catching me riding no motherfucking private jet. None of that gross ass, opulent, disgusting ass shit that y'all fucking heroize and idolize and shit. That is not the world. That's not the world. This shit we experience is make believe. This shit right now that we experience, this shit make believe. We have to expose the real world. We have to show people what the fucking real world is. This shit that we living in, this shit that these monsters have created, this shit is make believe and fragile as fuck. We have to kick the doors in on this shit. And the only thing that's going to kick the doors on this shit is to show people the real world, is to show people the truth of what this world is supposed to be, what it was created to be. You feel me? Now I'm done. I love you guys. I know that came off hard, but that ain't, just feel the energy and the truth of what it is I'm saying. Just because you can log up on here and see me does not mean my time is free. It does not mean that my value is $0. That's not what that means. It means this is the net casting phase of what it is we must build. It's the net casting phase. All right. All right. I love you. Really, really do. Y'all keep me hyped. I feel like connected to each one of y'all. I feel like that's why this shit be coming down so crazy. It's because of your presence. What did I tell y'all the other day in quantum science? It says that an object observed is changed. In the moment that an object or phenomenon is observed, both the object and the observer are forever changed. I like that. That's why I like science. So, yes, I'm done. Y'all want to see a picture of me and my daddy? This is a picture of me and my daddy. That's my daddy, Stephen Ray Floyd. That's me when I was a baby. Ain't he handsome? That house is my big mama house. The house we have on our land in Magnolia, Mississippi. That's my big mama house. That's the house my mama was raised in. That's the house my grandpa built for my grandmother. And then that's my dad and mama and myself. My daddy, the bass player. His beautiful self. Stephen Ray Floyd. All right, you guys. I'll see y'all tomorrow at 11 p.m. Universal Time, which is 4:11 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Until then, book your readings tonight, please. Book your readings tomorrow so I can get square the people who hold the key on my place to live, please. All right. As a matter of fact, I got enough time to do one more reading tonight. But for the rest of the week, and remember I told y'all that with the solstice thing coming up, those days I can only do, because the solstice thing is only 3 hours each day. I'll commit to do, I don't know, but for Monday and Tuesday, Wednesday, and let's see, Friday is the first day of the solstice, right? Yeah. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, I can do 3 readings a day. That's all I'm gonna do. That's all I'm gonna do. Maybe I'll get to a point where I can do 5 again, but that 5 put me down. I couldn't do readings the next day at all. It was too much. So right now I'm gonna commit to do 3 readings a day. I can do 1 more tonight. 3 readings a day. You know what? Not even tonight. Maybe tonight. I don't know. If you got money you want to give me, I will do 1 reading tonight. And then for the next 4 days, 3 readings a day. And then maybe 1 to 2 readings a day during the 3-day solstice practical ritual that we're going to do. Okay? Because I have discerned that if I can do 3 readings a day every day, 7 days a week, then I can meet all of my needs. That's just that's just the bills that come in that are regular and unwavering. I can meet all of my needs if I do 3 readings 7 days a week. 3 readings 7 days a week, I can meet my needs. You feel me? So share information with your friends. If you've ever gotten a reading from me, email me a review. Like, damn, that shit was awesome. Email me a review. I'll start posting the reviews in like the community section of YouTube, like where you can just post pictures or whatever. I'll start using those reviews. If you had an awesome ass reading, tell a homie, share it with a friend. Like, I really think you need to get this reading. This girl bad. You feel me? Share it with a friend. Like, this was awesome. Get your life right. Get a reading done. If you know your best friend who just left, she just escaped with her life from the church. Say, girl, this is a great opportunity for you to start your life anew. Get your reading. I've done so many first time people who've never gotten divination of any kind. That should have been really fun. It's been really, 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 really awesome to know that the first divination of their whole life they have ever received is with me. That shit is really, really dope. I love that. So yeah, I think that's a very reasonable goal. 3 readings a day. Y'all help me meet that goal. Hype me up. Send me some reviews. Like, damn, let me just send you a review about how awesome you is, bitch, because that shit was awesome. I had somebody, as a matter of fact, it was really big. It was really, really big. Booked a reading with me and was like, well, let me give you some background on what happened since the reading you gave me. And it wasn't like small shit. It was like monumentally huge. I was like, this the kind of shit I need y'all to be sharing. It was big. Monumentally huge. It was. And that shit, that shit really emboldened me. That shit really made me hype. Like, yes, look at this. Look at this. Look at this shit. So, book your readings this week, please, and thank you. All right. Now let me find some food. Peace. What's up, Fatty? What's up, Fatty?